Ready? Call your mama, call your papa, call your friends. The festivities are about to begin. Boom! Boom! I'm on it! The washing machine banging over there? Yeah, of course. Decided to make a loud noise now when the show was about to begin. Well, it's okay. We are here. We are live. It is Friday festivities. The doors on the Discord server Daily Boom are open for you watching this right now live or recorded. Even if you recorded, you can join the Discord server and be a part of it. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. The bell notification icon is on. You know when we're live. Hit that thumbs up. Hit a like. Is the cheap free? It's not even cheap. It's free. A free way that you can help clicking that like button. There's a way that you gotta spend a little money, but there's a PayPal link pinned above, and there's a super chat feature down low, and there's also a join member somewhere around in the channel down there. Like Carlos, Mr. Gadget just did. He became a responsible troll and he shall work his way up to be a wise troll. Thank you very much, Mr. Gadget. Shout out to everybody here. JM Claude, Psychics Traveler, No Name, Farmer's Boy, Kuso, Fred Bailey, Mr. Gadget, Charlie Wells, Kennedy Schultz, RT96, Real Cygnus, JM Clark. Everybody's in the house. Shout out to the Sounds of Florida. Hope you guys can hear that in the background. One more. We got Squeaky Earth. Now they're watching the show. Mab it. Yes. Hey, here we go. It's a whole new experience. Shout out to the Squeaky Earth. And one last announcement. We get a new tone for when the super chat is hit. If anybody hit me a super chat, we get a new sound for the super chats. Thank you for being here. We got Farmer's Boy and Carlos, top of the show. What's up?
Good evening. Happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday.
Happy birthday, Jose.
Hey, yeah, that was like 2 or 3 months ago. It was in March.
It's not Friday the 13th, your birthday?
a little bit late. Shout out to Make a Ray. Yes, you can offer a small bit of critique. Yes, you can offer lots of critique. I am an open book, and I am willing to listen to feedback. Shout out to Stephen Mudd, Chris Matt, aka Babs, aka what's the other name? Chris Matt, Babs. Yeah, one more.
there is another one, isn't it? I can't remember it.
You know Babs, right? Carlos, he was kind of a flat earther. Oh yeah, the horizontal flip on the camera, man. I know. I apologize. I mean, what I can do every once in a while, I appreciate it. Make actually say a horizontal flip on the camera, because you guys over here in Discord, you see the correct way. You can read my shirt, you can read the sign, but in YouTube it's mirrored. I cannot work it the way I'm streaming right now. Space Pope. There you go.
Yes, Space Pope, that's it.
Yeah. Let me give Antique some rolls. Now I got this camera right here, and in this one, it is the correct way if it decides to work, because this one works via Wi-Fi. So at least I can show you what my shirt says if I can do that. There you go. We got the sign. Warning, no stupid people beyond this point. And then we got, what's my shirt today? I'm not angry. This is just my face. Thank you. That's my shirt today. So, you know, I appreciate it. This camera right here that I'm pointing at, this is the one that I'm participating on the show as a guest. And then over here, I got a different laptop, which is the one running the stream. This one is running the stream right now, this laptop. So that one is just receiving you guys, receiving me, receiving all the guesses, and streaming it to YouTube. So the way this is receiving, it mirrors it somehow. It's all good. It's all good. I appreciate this. Oh, we got a bunch of people. Antique Olive, Brufus, Carlos, Discord user, Farmer's Boy, J-Mac, and Nestle Wives. Can we get a mic check, Antique Olive, if you want to say hello? I don't know. You're new here. If not, anyway, the floor is yours, gentlemen. I'll be here trying to keep it alive, if not. Guess Jose is best, Jose. I'm not flip-flop. That one is flip-flop right there.
Yes, I noticed that the Northman was available for me to watch yesterday, so I thought, right, I'll make an evening of it, because it is quite a long film, isn't it?
Northman, the movie. Give us your thoughts. 1 minute review of the Northman from your perspective. How did you experience the movie? What's that?
Well, I love all the old Viking stuff. There's been some brilliant series out on Amazon, I think, the Vikings. So I like the Viking stuff. It's a bit of an epic. It's the old classic guy seeking revenge for the murder of his father, and it's the whole story behind that. And there are points where I thought I could fast forward through this. There's places where it drags out, but the cinematography, the whole sort of feel of it, it's quite something. If you like anything about Vikings, watch it. It's a good film. When the film's 2.5 hours long, there are generally points where you think, yeah, go on, speed it up a bit. But no, it was a good film.
It was my review. I mean, my record was me recommending it, and the way I described the film without spoilers was fair.
Mm-hmm.
Was fair, right?
Yep. Oh, No Name says a Viking John Wick. Yeah.
No, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, it's a very violent film.
But it is. If you didn't know anything about it, you will be. If you see the trailers, I think you will expect something from the movie, and it's like a little bit different, right? It's more of a personal story, right, Journey?
Yeah,
I mean, in between, you got these big things and big visuals and the dreamy, trippy stuff in between.
Yes.
But it's more of a personal kind of a not love story, but revenge love story type of thing. You know, it's cool.
Yeah, it wasn't quite what I thought from watching. Yeah, the trailer I think misleads you a little bit, but not in a bad way. It's still a good film. It's a very watchable film. And having I watched a couple of bits of it today, sort of behind the scenes things, and there's one scene in particular. You when you think that that's something like the 20th retake of it. Bloody hell! Yeah, they really put their heart and soul into the actors did, and of course it's got Nicole Kidman in it, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It wasn't quite what I was expecting, but sometimes that is a good thing, because you watch a trailer and you think, oh yeah, the film's going to go like this, that's going to happen, and that's going to be the ending, and boom, and then you go and watch it and you think, yeah, that's exactly what happened. But no, not this one.
Yeah. Leo for a big $5 super chat. Yeah, the drone is back, he said. The drone?
Yes,
I don't know.
Yes, he seems to think that I drone on in the same monotonous monotone voice all the time without no inflection whatsoever. Yeah, like he does.
Big shout out to, really quick, feedback on YouTube. Did you hear the new notification for the super chat? If so, give me some feedback, guys.
Oh, of course, we never get that in here.
Oh, I'll give it to you in a second.
Oh, I'm sure.
Let me get my phone. Take it to the floor, man.
So I was going to ask Farmer's Boy a question.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've ever seen Valhalla Rising. It's another Viking movie. It's Mads Mikkelsen, isn't it?
Yeah, I just Valhalla Rising. It rings a bell.
It was
I'm gonna have to look it up now 'cause I can't remember.
filmed in Scotland. Cinematography in it is absolutely fantastic, and it's an extremely violent Viking movie, but one of my favorites.
Okay, that's going on the list. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. So, but
Which one are we talking about? I wanna.
Valhalla Rising. Oh, Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, that's
Okay.
he's always worth watching.
Yeah, let's not go crazy about movies. It's just, give you a break the first few minutes, but we got a bunch of people, and maybe somebody have something that you have caught in the last 2 days that they didn't do a show, and we can entertain that. Let me find that audio clip because you wanted to hear it, huh?
Oh yes.
Fuck it. I struggled earlier to find because I barely listen to music over here. So I don't even find a program to play whatever I thought. Oh, fuck. I'm on it. I gotta hear the downloads. I had to download it in order to play it over here. Oh shit, no, I didn't. I apologize. Chat to Bloom up. Hey, another super chat by Leo. $45. Not enough cowbell in this time. Thank you very much, Leo. I hope everybody will have more cowbell because over here I got
prescription is more cowbell.
I got it. I got this piece of audio that I would like to share with you.
Okay.
It says like this. I will play this just one. Let's see.
Guess what? I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Hell yeah! I got a fever.
That's the real Bruce Dickinson on Saturday Night Live.
Hell yeah!
What a classic sketch that is.
That's it. I had to throw it there, man.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And Matey Boy's throwing himself around the room, hitting that bloody cowbell. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Nice.
Blue Marble had a show. I caught a live show. I don't know if it was this past 2 days or just one, either yesterday or the day before, or both days. Do you have a live show?
That was just yesterday, Jose.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was unable to. I was away. I didn't. Was it yesterday? I don't know if I joined one of your shows for a few minutes, but I don't know if it was yesterday. I'm lost.
No, I don't think so. A couple of days ago, you did.
A couple of days ago, right? Yeah. Was it good? You had some participation there?
Yeah, we had a lot of people. It was just kind of a calm afternoon. No flirts around, so that holds down the arguments, of course. Mostly looked at the Sagittarius A star black hole.
Oh yes.
It was an interesting thing to look at.
What were you looking at? There was videos, pictures from where?
No, they've imaged the black hole that is at the center of our galaxy. It's the black hole. They call it Sagittarius A star. And they had a press release yesterday morning about 9:00 and showed. I'll pull up a picture of it for you.
Cool. So it's a newer image, and it's been going around. All right, cool. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Hang on. Let me go find it.
Excellent. We got another $5 super chat by Leo. Leo, you're the man, brother. Hell yeah. Am I allowed to say lemon bird? Yes, you are allowed to say that. Bring in the cowbell, please. I know it's going. There you go.
Guess what? I
No,
got
not
a
allowed to
fever,
say that.
and the only
Good grief.
prescription is more cowbell.
Shout out to Christopher Walken. He wants more cowbell. I'm sorry. He had a name. I don't know the name of the
He
character.
he was the real Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson. Shout out to Bruce
Yes.
Dickinson.
Which of course he wasn't.
Who is Antique Olive? I see the icon is this little penguin that it brings memories from that one group. And I know there was a person that used to use this icon, similar, Mark Doxey. Remember Mark Doxey? Didn't he used to use a little penguin as an icon? Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah, I remember
It's very,
There's
very
no
familiar.
flies on you, Jose.
Holy shit! I got it right. That's you, Mark.
How you
Played.
going, LD?
What's up, man? Hey, did I got it right or what? Did I got a good memory, man?
You're very smart.
Pay attention to details, man. I didn't recognize the name, but the icon is so more familiar.
Good man. Hello, everybody.
Good to see you, man.
Nobody else is glad to see me.
Hello,
I'm
Mark.
glad to
How are
see you.
you?
Hi, Blue. Are you all right?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good man.
What you been doing? Well, really quick. You been doing anything related to the YouTube and hanging out around, or you just taking care of your stuff?
No, I'm just looking after chickens. That's more or less what I do these days.
That's cool, man. You and yours over there, your family, friends, neighborhood, everybody healthy, everybody doing good?
Yeah,
Decent?
everybody's good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Very good. Happy to hear that, man.
I just dipped in and I saw you doing a live daily boom, so I thought I'd say hello.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good man. Good to be amongst friends.
Yeah, man. Yeah, still doing the same thing, you know, giving us, me giving you and everybody a place to come in and hang out, and whatever goes. Sometimes it's a little slow, sometimes it's a little faster. We still get the shit shows and the yelling and shouting, but most of the time it's just us hanging out together, talking about shit that interests us, you know. It's good.
Nothing's changed, has it?
That's it. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it the same, somehow
Yeah.
the same format that I always had.
Yeah.
There's a lot of feedback, criticism that a lot of people don't appreciate because of, oh, Jose does this, or he wants to talk about this, he doesn't want to mention that, he don't want to talk about that, and I just try to keep it lightly and not think. I don't want to talk about topics that going to affect us directly in the real life. I don't want to talk about health issues. I don't want to talk about politics. Even that's the first thing is that because I don't want to that it affects me. It like triggers me. It annoys me because I might have one opinion, then you're gonna have another, and we're gonna start fighting for bullshit, you know. Then
Yeah.
also YouTube. YouTube is not my house. We don't have free speech on YouTube, so we have to. I have to try to accommodate and retract myself from opinionating something that YouTube is not gonna like, and then they're gonna shut me down. I want to have the channel. I want to have a place to hang out, so I just avoid talking about all that shit that they don't like, you know? It is what it is. It's not censoring. It's kind of playing YouTube game. It's YouTube house. They don't want certain things to be saying. They have an agenda. They want things. If you want to talk about this, you must talk about this in the either positive or the negative way. You cannot say this. So I just don't want to play the game. I just sweep left.
It's difficult because YouTube is an invaluable platform you can't live without. But then there's the censorship or control of content. So I would disagree with. You know, we should be free to say what we want as long as it's not.
Yeah, I know. Yep, we should. Yeah. But yeah, well, more power to them. You know, it's not my house, so I'm just using a room in their house. I got to follow the rules, you know.
Well, Discord.
YouTube's become the new public platform to get out as much information to as many people as possible. But if we're not allowed to talk about certain topics, perhaps those topics need to be looked into a bit more. As I say, follow the censorship, follow the money.
What do you think, Discord? Now, Discord also changed the they change the rules and all that stuff. They read the fine print. What do you think about Discord, Mark?
Well, I've just dipped into it again. I sort of left it, but my search engine was DuckDuckGo up until recently, when they fell into line and put all the mainline official, in inverted commas, opinions right at the top, just like Google does, where just maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Right, you see it, yeah.
Yeah, DuckDuckGo is now in line with Google. It's not alternative anymore.
Yeah. Big shout out to Lel with another $5 super chat. I don't mean to throw fuel on the dumpster, but the Earth is a sphere. Outer space exists and gravity exists. Shout out to Lel.
Guess what?
Steering the pot out
only
here.
prescription
We'll get to that in a minute. No, but yeah, Discord, I try to avoid. I got a room in my Discord server. I call it controversy room. And the nonsense, maybe. So people in the controversy room, they like going back and forth about politics and health and all that shit. But I don't want this in my main chat that we participate. I don't want to talk about it in the live YouTube. A lot of people talk about it offline and all that shit. I don't care. As long as it's not going on YouTube, I'm good. I want to keep my channel up for hangouts and talk about things, like I said, don't affect us in reality, like science and the shape of the earth and math and all of this. We can disagree all we want, but it's not going to change. It's not harm to anybody. If you mix this earth and science with the health or the politics, then it can become a lot toxic. I just leave all that shit out for real. And that's why I lost a lot of people. They want to talk about certain things. They want to type certain things in the chat, and I just can't allow it, because I tell them, if you want to do that in your channel, in your platforms, do it, but please respect me, not on my channel. And a lot of people have left. It is what it is. I don't care.
So was Blue going to show us a picture of a black hole?
Yes. Let me share my screen. I got it up right here. So when I screen share, you should be able to click on my name, the Jose, and you should be able to see this image that I'm saying. I'm gonna share that. Boom! That is a new image, like recent new image of a black hole, Blue. Tell me about it.
Oh, don't ask me to explain it.
No, I'm not telling you to explain it, but tell me about like this image. How old it is, what sources was taken to take this picture.
Okay.
Where you come from.
Yeah. The image on the left is M87, the galaxy M87. And that was the first time they were able to actually image the black hole, the enormous black hole that sits at the center of that galaxy. Now, that's not done with a regular telescope. That's done with radio telescopes. And not just one radio telescope. I'm talking about hundreds of them. And it's a massive, enormous data collection exercise. But that's what they were able to come up with for M87. And you can see the size. That little circle there in the center of that image on the left is the orbit of Pluto. So you can see that dark spot is actually where the black hole is. And what you effectively are seeing is the event horizon, beyond which light can't escape. So now you fast forward a couple of years, and they've just now, yesterday, released that image on the right, which is the image of Sagittarius A star, which is the black hole that sits at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And that little white dot in the center is sun's diameter. So you can see that the event horizon is pretty large compared to the diameter of the sun, but it's inside the orbit of Mercury in terms of size. So that's what it shows. I think it's fascinating. Again, that's harder to get. It was a harder job for them to image Sagittarius A star for two reasons. Number one, it's a much smaller black hole than the one that's at M87. But number two, there's an awful lot of crap in the way between us and the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And in fact, optically, the only way you can even see that region is with infrared. You can't see it in the visible spectrum because of all the dust and stuff that is occluding the line of sight to it. But I think, it's pretty remarkable when you think about this. You go back 107 years now, and Einstein came up with a thing called general relativity, which predicted that a black hole should exist, a thing like a black hole. And then we started observing with our optical telescopes these funky orbits of stars that are in the vicinity of the center of galaxies, and the center of our galaxy for that matter. And you can't explain the orbits of the stars any other way than there has to be some very, very massive object sitting there to allow those orbits to even exist. So now you take it, beyond that, and you get these sorts of images of the actual event horizon of the black hole. We're never going to see a black hole. You can't see it itself, but you can certainly see the accretion disk that's swirling around that thing. So that's what you're looking at, and that's all I can tell you.
I appreciate it. Thoughts, comments, thoughts about this?
I think it's a pretty cool image myself. That was quite an impressive achievement.
Yeah, what's the difference between a black hole and a white hole? I heard, I could be wrong here, but I think that scientists discovered that a possibility of a white hole recently. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe.
One sucks and the other spits. One sucks in, the other spits out.
Are we going all red dwarf here? What's a white hole?
Oh, this picture, the black hole. My comment really fit. This just goes over my head. I cannot fathom. I can listen to, 100 hours of explanation on how was this captured, and I still cannot fathom it. I'm not in denial, but it's just don't fit in my illiterate brain. I cannot gather this now.
You're
cannot
black hole
grasp it, man. I'm black hole illiterate, 100%. Hell yeah.
Yep. We get you.
Marky Mark, what do you think? Black holes, pictures.
Was that a question to me?
Yeah. What do you think about this? Whatever black hole images and stuff.
It's interesting. We understand that our Milky Way galaxy is was it 1,000 light years across? Is that right, Blue?
I think it's more like 25,000.
Oh, okay. And so this we're on the outskirts, and this is somewhere in the middle, yeah.
Yeah, very near the middle of it.
So we're going for like 12,500 light years away.
Yeah, I think so. I'll look that up to be sure I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, do that. I was under the impression it was 100,000 light years across.
The radius of the Milky Way is 52,850 light years. So yes,
Okay.
its overall diameter is just over 100,000 light years.
All right.
Blue, you have to go back to school.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you just have to remember a song from Monty Python's The Meaning of Life, because that's where I remember all the sizes from. We are 30,000 light years from galactic central point. We go around every 200 million years.
Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking about.
John Rapp is up early, 4:30 in the morning, because he is here for the Friday Festivities. I'm just saying that for everybody on YouTube. Sorry, Blue, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's probably what I was remembering, a distance that's more like the distance from us to the center.
Yeah.
So that whole diameter.
Yeah, because we're not out on the edge, are we?
I used to just subscribe to a magazine, Astronomy, many years ago, and invariably the leading article in the application would start off with scientists or astronomers used to believe, but now it's no longer the case, and this is the new belief. Belief may have been the wrong word, but invariably it's no longer considered to be accurate, and then something new would come along. So when I look at this picture, Blue, in a few years' time we may get an article in Astronomy magazine saying it's no longer believed to be, and this is now the interpretation of it.
Yeah, that's, I guess, the beautiful thing about science, isn't it?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. So we don't look at this and think, "Wow, this is the ultimate opinion."
This is the first two attempts.
Okay.
Sure there will be many more to come.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this either from satellite pictures and telescopes and all this shit. I think is the best understanding so far, like in real time, right? I mean, we cannot say this is gonna be it till the end of time because something, the technology will evolve, details and more data and all that shit. So I think what we have for now is the understanding so far as for today, I guess. Is that fair?
Yeah. And in 10 years' time, the interpretation may be a fine tune, but it could also be totally opposite.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. Well, you asked me my opinion, Jose, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I cannot have an opinion because I'll pull my flip flop quickly out of my ass and I go crazy, man. I want to keep it in the download today, man.
Yeah.
I want to be the good guy too.
Well, that's the reason we don't just do a test. Okay, they do one, they get a thing. They from M87. They say, okay, this is what the black hole at the center of that galaxy looks like. Great. Well, is it, or maybe did they get lucky or analyze the data wrong, or what happened? Now you do it again. Okay, wait a minute. Now we got another picture, very similar to the first one, of a different black hole. All right. Well, let's do this 10 more times, or 50 more times and see if we can do it.
Sorry, I'm going to play the incredulity card here, Blue. If something is 25,000 light years away, and this is what we've got, I find it very difficult to believe that we can actually see. We've got equipment to look at something that's that far away.
Oh, I agree. And it couldn't be done if you didn't link those radio telescopes up and make a telescope roughly the diameter of the Earth. That's really literally what they've done.
Yeah. Many years ago, I went out on a very black night away from any city lights, and with a pair of binoculars. For the first time, I focused on, is it Pleiades? Is it that sort of, not Pleiades, no, the 7 stars, what's that called? The Japanese call it Subaru. There's a lot of tiny cluster of stars. There's like 6 or 7 that we can see.
That is the Pleiades. They're known as the Seven Sisters.
Oh yeah, the Pleiades. Okay. And I was blown away by just looking at it with a pair of binoculars. That it wasn't just 5 or 6. There was thousands of stars, and that set me off in an interest in the astronomy. And it also it sort of affected my faith in the Bible as well. That if it's that big and it's that much dynamic universe around us, what's the point in obeying the Bible or even paying your electric bill? Everything is so insignificant.
Yep.
For a universe
Real faith isn't affected by stuff like that. Faith is immaterial. Well, it isn't affected by stuff like that, and that faith is immaterial. It doesn't grab onto the material things as a source of faith. It grabs onto the immaterial, who or what a thing is deep down beneath all of the material layers to strengthen the faith, as it were. So
Well, I
it
was
tends not to be
comfortable.
shaken by stuff like that.
Well, I was comfortable with just the parameters of the Christian religion, and then I saw that what I was told to be the dynamics of the universe, as what I interpreted from the first time I looked at Pleiades with binoculars, and it blew my mind. It expanded my horizons vastly, and it gave me the permission to think about things. And it's so what if you don't obey the Sabbath, or you got to pay your electric bill? Nothing is on this earth is of any importance if we're living in such a dynamic universe.
But
Before
what
we got-
sort of
Go ahead,
discovery is? I was just going to say, Jose, what sort of discovery is that? That, nothing is of any significance, or I guess you're trying to take another thread with that. But, what I'm hearing is, not much of a discovery. It's kind of bleak and foreboding. What were you saying, Jose?
No, I just want to try to keep it for a few more minutes, like directly into these images of the black hole. And there's one person that I want to ask his thoughts on it, and he's Space Pope. What's up, man, Chris? If you're available to say hi and give me your thoughts about these black holes, man. Where are you at in this?
Yeah, I'm here. Blue forgot to put Snoop Dogg in the photo.
Snoop Dogg.
Right.
Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Well, Space Pope.
Good times.
Well, Space Pope, the thing about these is so much of it is reconstruction, color coding or something like that based off of what radio signals they think are out there on like a little, square dot of pixel on a computer. So I guess what I'm wondering is how much of this actually matches reality and how much of this is idealized reconstruction that may not actually be in reality per se of what, if anything, this black hole or this picture is.
So are you essentially saying that this photo is not real?
I would probably have to go with that, yes. Based off of what was his name? Robert Robitaille said in his video of the breakdown of the last black hole. He said that they got all that from like a gray square that was somewhere in the reaches of quote unquote space and highly idealized and highly, edited and reconstructed. It's just hard for me to believe.
Well, essentially that doesn't mean that it's not real. It just means that there's something in the editing process that you may not understand, perhaps.
Maybe. But if there's just so many layers to generate, even a new construction of what, if anything, I'm seeing with this thing, it becomes sort of a divide between what, if anything, is actually there versus what's reconstructed and artistically generated.
Yeah, I agree. I felt the same way about some of the photographs of Earth. And I was looking at it from a flat earther perspective. And I came to the conclusion that I didn't really have any justifiable reasons to say that it was fake, other than me seeing, me not agreeing with the aesthetic that they were using. And the aesthetic has to do with the editing process. In order to understand why the photos look the way they do, you sort of need to understand how they've been edited. And yeah, I mean that's sort of what I'm looking into right now. I feel like that's something that I'm still struggling with at the moment. Like when I look at photos of Earth from space, something about that aesthetic just doesn't quite look real. But that's not enough to dismiss them as being fake, because I can't prove that they're fake. I just need to understand what it is about how they've been edited that make them look the way they do.
I guess in a way you have to have faith that it's fake too. I mean, I guess there's a distance that you're able to maintain with faith. If you have faith in a banker at a bank, You can say, I don't need to see any proof. I don't need to see your track record or anything like that. Just do it, and I will have faith and believe it. There's a distance there versus somebody who might have doubt saying, I need to see history. I need to see a track record. I got to see this person in action. You know, it's like with that lack of faith, you got to get closer to the thing and verify it with an unmanipulated experience before you even begin to say that you're going to have faith in it. Even with stuff like this, I need to go, I guess.
Well, yeah, and that's why I broke down the editing process. Part of knowing why the photos look the way they do is understanding the editing process. I mean, you could say that they're fake, but that's a positive claim, and the onus is on you to prove that they're actually fake. And a lot of flat earthers can't do that. They can tell you that the photos look fake, but they can't tell you what's fake about them or what's been done to make them look the way they do.
I guess they talk about the level of editing to take a gray square, like in Robert Robitaille's breakdown of the last black hole, and make it look into like this orange ring of fire or something. You know, they're talking about the layers of editing and, you know, possibly deceptive editing that basically say, you know, it's no longer quite matching reality.
So what would you expect these photos to look like if they were real? How would they look?
Or if I was right up there with a bird's eye seat, I'd expect that the real ontology of what, if anything, we're seeing up there is probably a vortex in the waters above, if anything. I'd expect to see black, cold waters above and or ether swirling, if anything. I think that's the true ontology of this, if anything.
With the exception of Polaroid photographs, aren't all images manipulated? You could argue that.
In this digital age, yes, but that level of even digital manipulation calls into question what is the unmanipulated experience we can, quote unquote, have faith in without all of those layers of manipulation versus the thing that we have to kind of have faith in, you know, that this manipulation, this editing is going to end up reconstructing something that's in reality. It's a high degree of faith.
Well, the editing, I don't think was done for malevolent reasons. I think they were done it was just done for purposes of making the images look clearer to people that were looking at them. I don't think they were edited in some kind of malicious way to fool people. You could make that argument, but you're going to have to prove that that's true.
Well, Southern Israelite on his on the flat Earth side was saying that the origin of black holes was dark stars. These things that flat earthers like myself and others invoke as the true cause of eclipses. You know, the Earth is flat and motionless underneath, while up above is this translucent, you know, dark star body that occasionally gets in front of other things and causes eclipses. Could this be a dark star or something else?
Yeah, I've heard that reason. The Rahu K2 black moon being responsible for eclipses, stuff like that. But then if there was a black moon in the sky that was eclipsing the moon, wouldn't it eclipse the stars as well? Wouldn't you expect to see part of the stars being... And we don't see that. We only see the moon being eclipsed. We don't see anything else getting blocked by a black body.
One would assume, but but you can counter that by saying, or rather pointing to flat earthers saying you can see stars through the moon, which implies that it is a semi-translucent body. So if the moon is similar to these dark stars, dark moons, whatever, well, then those could be semi-translucent too, and we could see the stars through them just fine until they're, you know, in front of the right light beam or the right frequency of light to bring out different colors. I think that different colors come out even in the shadows. There was a dude back in the, 1600s, Johann von Goethe, 1700s. He talked about how you could bring colors out of the shadow based off of the way that you combine the light. So you could have this, you know, kind of dark star body up there that you don't normally see, and then it takes on color and eclipsing depending on the combination of the light and darkness up there, bringing out different hues in an eclipse or something. But
Who saw
Now
stars through the
that's
moon?
something that I'd like to see. Yeah, because I've heard people say that they've seen stars through the moon, but I've never seen that before. I've seen blue sky behind the moon, but that's because of some kind of scattering going on. But I've never seen stars behind a transparent moon. I've never seen that before.
Layman, where's that? Where's the proof on that?
YouTube videos where the moon will be in crescent phase and then there'll be a star just off the crescent part of the moon, like in the middle of the moon, just off the little crescent part or toward the edge of what would be the moon if the whole moon was there, that sort of thing. I'll see if I can find any videos that are still on YouTube. YouTube
Are those photographs or those footage of the moon? Are those being photographs or footage of the moon where you see a quote unquote star through the moon?
What I saw was a YouTube video more like footage. So they were just
you are going to get that with like stars maybe that appear to be close to the edge of the moon, but you're not going to get any photographs that have a star in the middle of the moon.
The funny thing is that we've been doing photography and astronomy, for years and years, and it wasn't until the whole flat Earth movement that all of a sudden, we caught a star through the moon. I'm like, come on, dude, wouldn't this be a known thing?
It on the Islamic. Well, you do see it on like the flags of Islamic nations, a crescent moon with a star that's kind of off of the crescent, kind of like a star seen through the moon. Could it be truth in plain sight?
Wow.
I think so.
Hey, that's not proof of anything. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I've seen different things in flags. That doesn't mean anything. I've seen a freaking shark riding a bicycle on a flag. The heck does that mean?
People only report what they've seen. They've at least seen the bicycle and or the shark, even if they put them together in some sort of weird hodgepodge sort of composite.
Right. So people have seen the moon, people have seen stars. Just because they put it right inside the moon doesn't mean that's proof of freaking stars through the moon, you knucklehead.
Perhaps. But the footage I saw
there you go.
Hide through what would otherwise be the moon. So it looks like a
possibility. So if it's not like really solid proof or evidence, why the heck would you bring it up, Lemon? As soon as I freaking point out it's a dumb idea, you just wave it off as like, crap, and move on to your crap.
Carlos, that was in the context of answering why we don't see these other dark stars obscuring other stars. That was pointing out that the moon itself, the moon, appears to be semi-translucent. So by that logic, Carlos, other things could be semi-translucent, including these dark stars. That was all.
Hey, we got a super chat.
The moon.
We got a super chat by Sean Smith for $5. Thank you very much, Sean Smith. At Lemon, very interesting approach. Do you have any evidence available to show space works the way you say it does? Very good question, Sean.
Other than the Snoop Dogg video that you're putting up right there, Robert Robitaille, one of those Electric Universe dudes, talks about the questionable reconstruction off of a pixel of radio image or whatever from the last black hole. That's stuff like that is conspiracy catnip even for flat earthers. So that would be the evidence that I would show for these questionable reconstructions of whatever the hell they say they're seeing up there. I'll see if I can find that video as well.
Now, during the waxing and waning phases of the moon, you're only going to be able to see specific hemispheres based on the position of the sun. And in the daytime, with the scattering of light, it may appear as if the moon is transparent. But that's only because of the position of the sun causing that either waning or waxing phase. That doesn't necessarily mean that the moon is transparent. It's just an illusion.
An illusion or reality that can't be adequately accounted for by the current theory? Maybe.
There's absolutely no evidence that the moon is transparent in any way, shape, or form, and all you've got are a veritable handful of crackpot videos by people who think the Earth is flat that show stuff like that, Lemon. There's
How
no
about-
credible evidence of it.
Plus, there's no such thing as semi-transparent. It's either transparent or...
Glass is semi-transparent depending on what color it is.
Oh, sorry. There's no such thing as semi-translucent. It's either translucent or it's opaque.
Fair enough. I put the video in the chat. I think it's this one talking about the questionable reconstruction from the last black hole that made news or headlines from like 2 years ago or something. Sky Scholar, I guess his name is.
In what chat did you put it on? In the daily? Oh, yeah, I see it. I see it.
Yeah, I'd like to see some footage of stars through the moon at some point. All I've ever seen is still photographs, which, as somebody who is familiar with sensors and cameras, knows that's not that hot pixels are a thing.
Yep.
Very interesting. As a conspiratarded, religion-tarded flat earther, I would have to say that they're probably fudging some of these images to push across a questionable narrative of what, if anything, is up there.
You sound like you're a black hole expert.
No, just a critical thinker.
I would say
Which brings me back to... Go ahead, Bill.
What I'd say is they've collected about 1,000 pounds of hard drives, which literally is true, shipped that to a data processing center, and did a hell of a lot of data analysis to come up with the image. That's what I would say.
I got
to throw back to the question that I initially asked Lemonbird, which was, if these pictures were real, what would you expect them to look like? Versus if they were fake?
Before you answer, please, just a holler to Antique Olive, who is here, Mark, aka Mark, supporting the channel with a £5 super chat. Thank you.
What? I got
Antique
a fever,
Olive,
and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Because that's something that somebody asked me once, and I found it difficult to answer, especially in particular with reference to photographs of Earth from space. Like, when I look at them, yes, they look sort of sketchy and edited, but then what would you expect them to look like if they were real?
Back to your question that I thought I answered, let me be a bit more blunt. If the pictures were real and really shooting something real, I would expect a black whirlpool of water from the waters above, or thickened ether swirling with a black color.
Right, but that's a positive claim on your part. You don't know whether there's waters above. There's no evidence for that.
There's lots. The effect that you get with the stars when you look with your own eyes and your own telescope is identical to shining light on undulating water. You can duplicate it by putting water in a cup and shining light on it. It will bounce off the cup down to the ceiling and make a star-like effect that looks identical to the stars that we see up there. That alone is evidence of the waters above.
I can never tell when he's done, so I keep cutting him off. You know how also you can quote-unquote duplicate that by having different density layers of air. I mean, you can look through the heat of what the fire puts out. You get that as well. So it's not just water. It's also diffraction.
How about any liquid medium? If space is an etheric substance that thins out down here when it shares space with other matter and goes up there and thickens as you get higher and higher and turns into a sludgy soup, perhaps that is the water above as some sort of liquid as opposed to just whatever we call water currently, H2O or whatever.
Well,
perhaps
you know what also behaves as a liquid? As a fluid,
some sort of liquid substance. I would go with H2O water
the atmosphere.
Or else.
But the atmosphere also, behaves as a fluid.
I got up on screen. I just want to share what I got up on screen. Is like Duffus-Mumfries call it, the out of focus fallacy on the stars. I put this collage with a bunch of little stars. I don't know if you see my screen, Lemon, but that's the one I got up.
That's not what the stars really look like. Those are out of focus P900 photo videos, not photographs, videos. Yeah. They don't look like pulsating balls of light.
Those are the actual stars when you get past NASA's stylized CGI artistry and fakery. Those are the real stars. Now, what are those bobbing, undulating lights, sonoluminescence, an angel up in heaven singing to the glory of God and pulsating light? Who knows? But it doesn't look
the stars don't actually.
They're out of focus.
The stars don't actually appear like that when you use properly focused optical equipment.
Mic check.
Hello.
Hello. All is good.
Hello, Mike.
I actually got a picture of them stars twinkling like that, except when I focused them, they went into points like normal stars.
Looks just like light bobbing and undulating off your pool. Let's show the waters above some love, shall we?
No, why don't you focus in on them?
Well, if the Jesuits at NASA would give me some, telescope time so I could see whatever the hell they say they're seeing in their telescopes, maybe I could give you a bigger picture.
You don't need NASA's telescopes. You can get your own.
So what keeps the waters above from falling down here on Earth?
The dome.
The dome?
Most likely a solid firmament dome.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we lived in a glass terrarium with a glass dome over us, that would mean that all of the gases in our atmosphere would equalize, and we don't see that. We see a pressure gradient with the most concentration of gases being at sea level, and it reduces with higher altitude. That's not how containers work.
That doesn't necessarily follow. You can have gradients and layers after everything goes to equilibrium. Initially, I would agree with you if you had just released a gas into a container, but after everything settles down and equilibrium conditions are reached, you will probably get layering.
Right, but a force has to be present in order for that layering to happen. The reason that the density gradient is present in our atmosphere is because of the force of gravity.
Of electromagnetic sorting.
So the force of electromagnetics is responsible for the density gradient in our atmosphere?
All you need is charge separation. Positive charge here, negative charge there, separating stuff into layers. Everything just floats or goes down to its layer from there. I'd go with electromagnetic charge separation or some sort of ether density column that we're all swimming in. Air would mix into this ether column going up, down, and around into different layers, basically.
Yeah, but that's not analogous with our atmosphere because the gases in our atmosphere are a uniform mixture. They're homogeneous. They're not separated based on charges. Just a uniform mixture of gases. The only thing that varies is the concentration depending on your altitude. So at sea level, the concentrations are higher, and when you go higher up, it reduces.
Two shout outs. One holler, big shout out to RT96 for a $2 super chat. RT says, if life gives you lemons, make whatever. Shout out to RT96. That was fucking great. And the second shout out is actually for everybody. You guys here on Discord and everybody on YouTube, thank you for watching. 50 people watching. That's why I wanted to speak this moment. 50 people, we did it. Thank you so much. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, please support by clicking the like. The more likes we have and clicks in real time, and you guys commenting in the comment section, YouTube tends to recommend the videos. That way we get a little more traffic and new people coming in with new voices and a new perspective. So that's why we kind of look forward to talk to new people about these certain topics. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and carry on, guys.
Yeah, well, essentially, a container with a density gradient would be possible if a force was present. But I don't know what epistemology you're following, Lemonbird. I don't know if you agree that there are forces present in our reality that cause things to fall towards the ground, or whether you're of a different epistemology.
I would just absorb whatever you're trying to allude to, gravity under electromagnetism. with charge separation or something like that,
Yeah, well,
dielectric,
essentially,
separation or whatever. We demonstrate gravity, with a magnetic substance with incoherent magnetism, a bunch of buckyball masses with their north and south poles all over the place, being able to attract either pole of a north-south coherent magnet. And since everything is electromagnetic, that's a good enough display of gravity for me.
So in the electric model, wouldn't they have to be positive charges attracting negative charges, like cathodes and anodes, stuff like that?
One would assume. I think all you need is, the conception of electromagnetism I go with is the ether flowing in and out of a substance. That's what gives you your directionality, your attraction of quote unquote north and south magnet, which would just be the ether going in north, coming out south, or whatever, giving you a generalized pole. But that's what I would go with.
Yeah, but I don't think that's how.
Keep in mind that oxygen and nitrogen would respond differently in our atmosphere if that description were true.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's not the current model for gravity. It's not based on polarity. It's based on masses attracting each other.
Normally bonded to stuff like O3 and some sort of non-ionic sense, in an electrically neutral sort of thing. Wouldn't we need, I don't know, some ionic oxygen to test this, or something with some sort of charge or something? I don't know.
Yeah, positive
oxygen
ions
and nitrogen
do attract.
have different. Oxygen and nitrogen do have different behaviors. They don't in our atmosphere, though.
Yeah, positive ions attract negative ions, but that's not gravity. That's something different.
As long as you have charge separation in the etheric density tower, things would just go up or down to their respective layer. That's what I would go with anyway. Just one big ether density tower.
Right.
Ether?
And why would mass attracting mass not be possible on a flat Earth? I mean, you would have to because based on the current model for gravity, it's everything is attracted towards the center of Earth, and it has to be the Earth has to be a specific shape for that specific model to work. And on a flat Earth, there's no center of gravity, so the vectors would be pointing in different directions. So I heard that if you have an infinitely sized Earth, that it might be possible for mass attracting mass to work in the same way. So I'm just wondering why people are so against that particular model. Because, I mean, it's still possible on flat Earth. You could still have masses attracting each other. It would just have to work in a different way.
Gravity appears to be invoked as the excuse for why we don't fly off of a spinning ball, fall off the bottom of it, or as an excuse to make the Earth round when it otherwise appears flat. If you believe NASA's ball imagery, that's one thing. But as far as I can tell, nobody's actually been to the center of the Earth and out the other side to verify there's any sort of center in the first place. These things are simply invoked with little to no evidence. We don't see gravity pulling stuff into balls in our everyday life. We see stuff go down, go up, float like a cloud. I mean, this gravity abstraction is a little unsatisfactory, so we may need to go with something different.
Well, most of the masses we observe in reality are attracted to Earth. And even with situations like what you're referring to with helium balloons, that is also a function of the downward vector, because balloons float as the result of the gases in the atmosphere pushing down on the balloon and displacing that balloon, causing it to move in an upward vector, which is a function of gravity.
But that just sounds like begging the question. We have evidence against gravity with something floating up. Then the model is reaffirmed by saying, even though there's evidence against this with stuff floating up, we're going to reaffirm it by saying it's still being pulled down, just less than the other stuff, or the other stuff is being pulled down, and by dint of everything else being pulled down, it's indirectly pushing this helium up. That just sounds a little weak.
Well, displacement and Archimedes' principle are well demonstrated experiments. You can put a ball in water and watch it float as a result of displacement. So this stuff is not all just made up.
Archimedes' principle needs a medium. So how would you have gravity in space unless it's a medium? At this point, contradictions are starting to emerge because as far as I've heard, depending on which day you ask the person, space is a vacuum, nothing with no medium for this Archimedes principle. Yet gravity is still demonstrated in the mediumlessness of space. If you're going to invoke Archimedes' principle, that's going to contradict the mediumlessness or the vacuum of space, unless you're saying that space is a medium of some sort, like
Space isn't a vacuum.
Space is not a vacuum.
Yeah, there's still particles, there's still matter in space. It's not a perfect vacuum.
So are you saying that it's a vacuum with a few particles in it, or what are these particles in? Nothing or something?
It's a low pressure system.
You're avoiding the question, and I know where this goes after 6 years.
No, it's not. He just fucking told you.
The particle would need to be in a medium for you to invoke this Archimedes principle.
It's not a perfect vacuum.
That it is an ether, the waters above, or something else.
It's not a vacuum. It's a low pressure system.
Who says Archimedes' principle works in outer space?
Right.
Where does that come from? It doesn't.
We were on a line of questioning about how much BS gravity is because stuff floats up against gravity. He invoked Archimedes' principle, saying that it is similar to how gravity works. I pointed out the implicit contradiction because gravity also works in space where there is no medium for this Archimedes principle-like demonstration.
But Archimedes' principle doesn't work in space, Lemon. There's that medium that allows it to work here on the earth, the atmosphere, or the water in the ocean. That is not present up there. That's why Archimedes' principle doesn't work up there.
Strictly speaking, it does, but who can even detect it?
Lemon, if you got two kids on a teeter-totter, do you remember teeter-totters from way back? One big kid and one little kid. The little kid goes up, right?
What was that?
If you've got a big kid and a little kid on a teeter-totter, you know what a teeter-totter is?
I've heard.
But you never seen one?
A seesaw.
So if you've got a big kid and a little kid on a teeter-totter or a seesaw, the big kid goes down and the little kid goes up, right? Did the little kid defy gravity?
It was pushed up by the other person. I guess in that way they defied it.
You see what I'm saying? When something heavier goes down, it's not a defiance of gravity for something lighter to go up. You see what I'm saying?
But you're dealing with a fulcrum. Unless everything in the atmosphere is on a fulcrum like that, that analogy is a little off. Something could come down on you.
No, this has nothing to do with
as opposed to letting you go up. Or it could come down on you and keep you in place. There are other possibilities that are available. And so this idea that gravity indirectly pushes up stuff going against gravity just sounds like begging the question to, somebody who's, flat-minded or whatever, thinking about another model.
It's not begging the question to say something that has more weight per unit volume will go down and something with less weight per unit volume will go up. That's not begging the question.
Or it will be kept down or it will be crushed.
So, Lemon, do you know how a piston works? Like a plunger in a tube that seals and you can put pressure in there and move it? Like a
car or something like that?
Well, car engines have pistons. Hydraulic machinery have pistons. Have you seen like those little plastic syringe type things? You squeeze them and they squirt water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say you had two of those plungers and you had them full of water and you had them hooked together with a tube, right? And you got a big kid standing on one and a little kid standing on the other. The big kid will go down and he'll produce enough pressure to push the little kid up, right?
But we have a contradiction there because that would only work if the Earth was an enclosed system. The heliocentrists imply that the Earth has no solid covering to make it a closed system. So that would work if Earth were a closed system covered by a firmament. But if it's just open to space, I mean, I don't see how that could even be a thing.
Okay, so
nowhere
let
in
me
this
ask.
analogy is the plunger and the tubes connecting them considered to be the entire Earth. Don't read into the analogy in some weird way just to try and make a obtuse point, Lemon.
But we have to read into it because it reveals how you're thinking about it. You're invoking this sort of hydraulic piston pressure without some sort of contained system to really make the analogy pop and really be analogous.
Okay,
and so
so
there's going to be a problem.
Okay, so let me put it to you this way then. Let's say you have a balloon full of helium, and it holds 1 cubic foot. Okay, you have a balloon full of helium, and it holds 1 cubic foot. When that balloon rises up 10 feet, that cubic foot of helium now went up 10 feet, right?
Right.
Okay. What filled in the cubic foot down below that it had been occupying?
The charge field coming off of the Earth, like Miles Mathis said.
No. Okay, then, so when the balloon moved up, it then began displacing a cubic foot of air up higher. Where did the air go that used to be where the balloon is now?
Pushed up by the charge field of the Earth? I don't know.
No, the 1 cubic foot of air moved down in order for that cubic foot of helium to move up.
If we're in an enclosed system, I could agree with you if it was covered by a firmament. But the Globers do not believe that, so we have a problem here. What is enclosing the Earth to make it like the piston, like you say, if not a firmamental dome barrier covering?
It's just the gases. It's the gases in the atmosphere displacing the balloon. That's why when you put a balloon in a vacuum chamber, it goes down because there's no medium. So it's all displacement.
But based off of the way that you're talking about the piston and these analogies, you're kind of treating it in a sort of mystical way. You're talking about something going down while something goes up like it would in an enclosed system without the enclosure to make it an enclosed system in the first place. At that point, we're invoking part of the cause, but not the whole cause in a very mystical fashion.
What's closed system bullshit?
Fair enough.
What's this closed system bullshit? This isn't thermodynamics. This is simple physics.
I got
that.
If we check to invoke mystical causes without all of the things necessary for the cause to be effective, that's mysticism.
What the fuck you talking about, Lem? Look who's talking.
All right, if we check doesn't mean that it's not mystical without a firmamental dome covering to make it like the piston.
Proof of this firmament. Proof of the dome. Come on, give me the proof of the dome.
We already said this yesterday, today, and other days. You know,
because
you
still haven't given me any proof of the dome.
It makes no difference to whether he has proof of the dome. He's talking about mysticism,
right?
We were going.
Helium.
Sorry, can I just finish? He's talking about mysticism, that we are invoking mysticism. Yet
you're invoking this piston analogy, but there's no covering.
Lemon, can I finish? Okay, you are saying we are invoking mysticism, yet you are clear. You're open about the fact that you are a religious person, and that is mysticism. So how is if you're mysticism, you're clearly mysticism into mysticism. And you're calling us that we are invoking mysticism with no facts.
Well,
what is your point?
Another Nestle wipes. Do I believe in the supernatural? Yes, but I say when it is supernatural in that regard of faith or something like that, I don't act like it's sainted regular physics science, where you have this sort of piston-like effect without something to offer enclosure for the piston-like effect itself. At that point, you're invoking forces in some sort of mystical way without all of the things that make the forces do what you're trying to analogize.
No,
at that point,
we have science behind us.
And then I got to get to work.
Now you get to invoke science without a covering to make your piston effective. I'm sorry.
Okay, then you explain your reasoning behind your mysticism that you believe in?
Well, Jesse has an out here. He's got to
Well,
go.
the firmament. Oh, sorry.
Why would you choose magic shows in favor of real science? That's a peculiar thing to do. And you didn't answer my question, Lemon Bird. Why do helium balloons go down in vacuum chambers? Why does that happen?
Because of the charge field that is still present inside of the vacuum, sorting matter out into an up, down, middle density column, even in the vacuum. You can't evacuate the ether. The ether is still present in the vacuum.
There is no ether, Lemon. We proved this before. Come on, you have no proof.
We're losing. Well, I'm not. I don't like the way you approach this, Nasa Chill. I'm sorry, man. It's just so fucking annoying when you just interrupt and just blast through it. It is so far. Is you're the only one person that even though we got a little bit of talking over people, you are the one that annoys me the most. The way you interrupt people, bro. It's fucking just annoying, man. Just mute yourself, man.
Jesse Gordon said he had somewhere to be.
Yeah, I've got one more question for Lemon, and then I got to get to work here. Are you there, Lemon?
Yeah, I'm about to go get some food. What's going on?
Okay, I just wanted to follow up what we were talking about. Let's say you take a 1 cubic foot container full of air and you push it down into a swimming pool. Does the water level on the swimming pool rise up when you do that?
Yeah.
By how much? One cubic foot, right?
I guess I have to do the math.
No, it would be exactly 1 cubic foot. So there's no top on that container. So when you let go of this 1 cubic foot container, it rises back up, right? And when it floats to the top, the water level goes back down, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting at is in order for that 1 cubic foot of air to go up in the swimming pool, 1 cubic foot of water goes down in the swimming pool.
But your analogy fails again. Is there a top to our Earth where everything is pushed out?
There's no top to the swimming pool neither.
Vacuum of space. I mean, everything would just eventually escape into space, and we wouldn't have an atmosphere. Without enclosure of some sort, your analogy just doesn't work.
But gravity is an enclosure, and I've measured it myself. But I got to run. I'll post a link to my. Did you see my gravity video already?
I'll have to check it out.
I'll post it in the Daily Boom Uncensored.
That boom.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, the atmosphere. From what I've heard, the atmosphere does leak into space. Part of it does.
Well, being a conspiratard flatty, I need to see it escape. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that they calculated what is necessary for their theory without actual, I guess, hard evidence or proof of, hey, we can see this atmosphere leaving here like a wisp of wind or some crap.
Well, if the gases in our atmosphere are being manufactured here on Earth, and we can measure that some of those gases are escaping in outer space, we can deduce that we're not in a closed system, we're in an open system.
I guess
because if we were in a closed system, we would measure that the gases are increasing in our atmosphere, and that's something that we've never detected.
Since I've lost faith in heliocentrism, I would need to see these signs, and even then, because of my shattered faith, I might not believe.
Science isn't a faith, Lemon. I've gone over this at least 1,000 times. Science.
And I posted something 7 minutes ago that I was trying to get to. There's a graphic here that shows you, say, you have a metal bar in, say, a pool of water. It goes down, but the pressure that's on it is greater at the bottom than it is on the top. So the net forces that are on this metal bar are upward. So the only reason it could possibly go down is if there's another force causing it to go down.
The electromagnetic charge field going up and down between the Earth and or the firmament.
Yeah, that doesn't explain anything.
Which you have no proof of and have never measured.
I'd go with that as opposed to gravity pulling to the center of a fake baseball from NASA.
Of course you would, because you have no proof of it as opposed to, say, all the proof we have of that gravity exists.
Well, the evidence that we've accepted, is cheap. NASA's curved, lens distorted photos, and all of a sudden it's a ball. Get real. I mean, it's just fake.
We're talking about gravity now, not balls.
Well, gravity is used to prop up that falsehood of why it's a ball, because gravity just pulls it into that shape.
That's correct, but that's another issue.
It doesn't
necessarily have to be that shape. If Earth is the largest mass local to us, then everything is going to be attracted to that mass, regardless of its shape.
It just sounds like something they invoked as an axiom and went forward in experimentation in the hopes that they'd find evidence for the thing that they declared. I'd just declare something else and go from there.
Actually, yeah, I know, because you have stuff that you can't prove as opposed to gravity, which has been proven time and time and time again.
Well, we have a solid sky covering over us based off of sundogs, parhelions, elves, sprites, jets, rainbows, the Schumann resonance of the Earth, making the Earth look like or sound like a hollow cavity, meteorites, which are probably chips off of the firmament. We got stuff that looks like it's cascading off the firmament like comets. If you shine a light through a glass prism at an off angle, it looks just like a comet. I mean, you also have laser-guided star formation where you shoot a laser up into the sky and get a star-like effect by quote-unquote exciting the sodium atoms in the atmosphere through the atmodome or something.
Hold on a second. I counted 9 points that you spoke in 30 seconds or less. Lemon.
Yeah.
So those are 9 points.
One.
Can we go one at a time? If you just mention one, you just mentioned like word of the word, key phrase, and buzzwords and stuff. Can we go one at a time? We can try that. One at a time.
Oh, I'm gonna go get some food though, but thank you.
Oh, okay. I see how it is.
Scattergun a bunch of points and then leave. Typical Lemon.
Right. If we're going to talk about the Schumann resonance, not all things that are resonating or can resonate are hollow. I mean, there are metal objects that aren't hollow that can ring and make a ringing sound. It's not like because there's a resonant frequency, it's not even really mechanical anyway. It's electromagnetic. Because there's a resonant frequency does not mean that the object in question is hollow.
Oh my God! Is he actually using Schumann resonance to prove
the dome? Yeah, that's what he's trying to do.
For fuck's sake!
Yeah, and another problem with the glass terrarium model is Gay-Lussac's law, because if a given mass of gas, the pressure of a given mass of gas varies directly with temperature. So if we're in a dynamic system with varying temperatures, we would notice pressure changes. And that's something that we don't see in reality.
Yeah, pressure and temperature are a little bit unrelated. It's mostly the same pressure regardless of the temperature.
Right.
It has to do with the weight of the atmosphere, which most flat earthers will die tooth and nail, try to not, fight tooth and nail to not agree with the fact that gases have weight, especially helium, when I can order helium by the pound because it has weight.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. When I go to get my propane tank filled up, they put it on a scale and fill it until the scale says I've got a certain weight in it, then they stop filling it.
Yeah, I personally did an experiment myself with gas where I poured gas directly onto a scale just because I knew that they would complain that if it was weighed using a container, you require a container in order to weigh gas, right? So I poured it directly onto the scale and still recorded weight of that specific gas, and they still rejected it.
I got a point of everything I caught. I mean, some things resonate, but the one that resonates the most is when they say, well, space is fake. Why? Because space is not a vacuum, they say. That's correct. So why are you arguing? Space cannot be a vacuum. You are correct. It's a very, very low pressure system. It's not a vacuum. But they call it a vacuum. Yeah, they call it a vacuum. So what is the term that they use for the outer space? They call it a vacuum. They can call it Susan, whatever name they want. But it doesn't make it an emptiness of everything, just a void. No, it's a very, very low pressure system. So when they say space is cannot be a low pressure system. You are cannot be a vacuum. Space cannot be. You're correct. Yeah, space cannot be a vacuum.
Well, it's a vacuum compared to the surface of the Earth. I mean, it's a lot closer to a vacuum than it is to, say, the pressure at sea level.
Yeah, and still the name, it kind of holds or whatever. But
See,
technically, it's not a vacuum because it's a super low pressure system. You got some air particles around. It's not a void.
Yeah, the point that Jose's making is that the basis for them saying that space is fake is based on a malformed argument. They aren't really using any real evidence.
Correct.
Real good evidence to make that argument.
Yeah, this is your science deniers misusing terms, not understanding terms, and expecting everything to be perfect.
Yeah, but they have to say space is fake because it has to be. It's as simple as that. For the Earth to be flat and everything they believe in space has to be fake.
And that was a lot easier for me to grasp. I was kind of a little bit entertaining the idea that it cannot be anything past a few, maybe 100 miles or a few thousand miles, but I have to adapt as a flat earther. Yeah, I mean, everything is real. I mean, we can go super far away. It's just not a vacuum. It's just not an emptiness. It's just very low. That's it. Yeah.
Right. The thing I like about Lemon, the good thing about Lemon Bird is that he actually agrees that things in our reality can be understood. Unlike the typical top-tier flurf that believes that nothing can be understood, regardless of whether other people have made discoveries.
Exactly.
They're just going to reject all of that and say that because they can't understand something, nobody else can.
And Babs, and that is exactly what Lemon is one of my favorite people to listen to and to ask questions, because he does answer every single question that you ask him. That doesn't make it correct. Maybe all the answers he has are incorrect, but he can answer the questions. He can give us an alternative. He can give us an explanation. That's what I like about him, and that's what many people over here get frustrated because they say he's just making shit up and answering a bunch of shit. I'd rather have somebody that makes something up as an answer to tell me nobody knows. I actually do appreciate that.
Oh yeah, he's the best type of flat earther because he has that same 2015 attitude where he's genuinely curious about understanding things. He's not like your typical flurf that just sits in an armchair and asks you to prove the globe to them and not do anything. Lemon actually goes out of his way to try and prove his model. He's not like the guys at Geos who are like, prove the globe to me. I'm just going to sit here and not provide you with anything. I'm just going to demand that you prove the globe to me. And I'm just going to reject everything that you show.
Hold on, Chaik. Mark, same time.
What factually is a typical flat earther?
Well, your typical flat earther there's a hierarchy, right? So the higher up you are on the totem pole means that you are incapable of learning, or you're willfully ignorant, meaning you're refusing to learn, regardless of whether people are trying to provide you with information. So your typical flurf would be a person who would ask you for globe evidence, knowing that they're just going to reject it. That's your typical flurf. And also not going out of their way to demonstrate their epistemology or try to prove flat Earth. They never do that. All they do is just demand the opposing side to prove flat Earth. I mean, to prove the globe. My bad.
That sounded very much like it depends on personalities and ad hominems, what you actually said there.
No, it's not. If you go to Nathan's show, it's the same thing on pretty much every flat Earth server.
Nathan is a person, so you've already introduced personalities there.
Okay, let's just talk about groups of people then, not individuals. If you go to the Flat Earth debate server, they ask you to demonstrate or to prove the globe to them. They don't provide you with Flat Earth evidence. You go to Geo server, it's the same thing. It's just a bunch of sea lions asking you to provide evidence for the globe and doing absolutely nothing to prove Flat Earth. No Flat Earth measurements, no Flat Earth evidence, just a bunch of dudes sitting in armchairs demanding that you do everything for them.
Yeah, so
that's your typical Flat Earth.
So there's a red herring there. The Earth could be still flat, but you're seeing Nathan and Quantum Eraser and Sleeping Warrior and Arwen as the typical flat earthers, and it could be a massive red herring going on.
Well, you're right. I'm involving personalities, and I probably shouldn't do that. I should just talk about the subject at hand. And no, the Earth can't be flat, because if it was, there would be evidence for that. And there isn't any.
That was a very fair reply. What you said there. There is two sides to this, and a lot of it is cultish. I see Fight the Flat Earth and others like that as being a cult, but people gravitate to that because it suits their status, and people gravitate to Nathan because it suits their status, but it misses the whole point. It's a massive red herring, both sides, on what the actual Earth presents itself as. And to say anti-science is just a throwaway comment. Science is science, and I think there's an awful lot of. I would carry on with that thought of red herrings, that we're missing the bigger picture because we're so locked into our little corner of comfort that we all belong to.
I've got a point to add on the typical flat earther, and I can relate it to the typical reviewer. So if you look at the statistics of, let's say, app reviews or restaurant reviews, if you take that evidence and that statistic as the typical reviewer or the typical patron of whatever that is, you're incredibly wrong, because that's not typical for the user base or patron of those two categories. It's typical of a subset of extroverts that put themselves out there and are very vocal. So you're getting the most vocal, opinionated. It could be that the typical flat earther is nothing like you see in the vocal majority that you think.
Right, I should have been a little bit more specific with my criticism. I'm talking about the most vocal people that we engage with and interact with on a regular basis. Okay, so I have no idea what majority of flat earthers probably think. I'm only referring to the people that we encounter in these discussion groups.
All right, Mark.
There's a logical fallacy coming through there, and it's the generic fallacy. Because somebody said it, it's either true or false, rather than the actual argument of the subject. Because Nathan has a show that's pretty obnoxious, then Flat Earth must be wrong. Because Fight the Flat Earth is an obnoxious man, then the globe must be wrong.
Well, no, I'm not referring to the people's attitudes. I'm just referring to the style of argumentation. Can I provide you with an example just for context?
Yeah, go ahead.
So for example, there's this style of argumentation that I've seen happening a lot, where you're basically asked a barrage of questions, and it does seem genuine initially, but after a while you start to realize that this questioning is only done because the person questioning you is just trying to sort of get to the bounds of your understanding or reach the limit of your knowledge. Absolutely. And once they get to that limit, they can claim victory on the basis that they found a specific question that you can't answer. Absolutely. And I feel like that's a dishonest, disingenuous tactic, because if you're someone that's genuinely seeking truth, you wouldn't be handling these discussions in an interrogation sort of fashion. You would be searching for things on your own. You'd be measuring things in reality. You wouldn't be relying on trying to win word games online as your basis for your epistemology.
Yeah, if I went to a Catholic church, I would go through the same rhetoric every single time I attended Mass. If I was a Baptist or Presbyterian, I'd go the same. Sola fide, sola Christos. It's a cult thinking, groupthink, and if you don't accept the groupthink, then you're not part of us. Now, Nathan's show is a classic example of that. His opening questions, nobody is allowed to contradict the questions. It's a cult groupthink, but it misses the point of what the actual shape of the Earth is. It's a massive red herring.
Right, because it stops being about learning, and it just starts being about winning arguments on the internet.
Yes, groupthink.
And I feel like for a lot of us that got into Flat Earth, that was not the reason why we got into Flat Earth. Not to become expert debaters or best people on arguments on the internet. We actually were seeking truth.
Yeah, there's a technique of winning an argument, and it doesn't necessarily mean that your argument is correct. And I think Nathan has got that technique by just talking over somebody. When he starts his show and says, share the show because we want diversity, as soon as diversity comes into the show, they are verbally abused. So it's just a cult part of the internet.
Well, part of that is an attempt to... I was just going to say, part of that's an attempt to avoid difficult questions about a creator, religion. We're still trying to figure it out ourselves. So there's an attempt to strangle the discussion to keep it from even going there. And that's where some of the very controlling elements rear their ugly head. That seems sometimes very cultish.
Yeah, it's like they create an environment where the only thing that's possible is a stalemate. Go ahead, my bad.
Was that Lemon that said that?
I did, yes.
That's okay. Do you not think there's a lot of cultish elements to the debate?
When it comes to controlling the narrative and keeping it away from religion and other, left field topics that they don't want to broach or are uncomfortable with, yes. Sometimes it gets to downright cultish control.
Yeah. Do you think religion is, the Christian religion has got an element of cultishism? I'm sorry about the word, but you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, anybody can go to the Christian scriptures and read it with the Holy Spirit. So that tends to break the back of most cultish behavior. Can people crowd around somebody and their interpretation of scripture Christian-wise? Sure. But anybody can go to the text and with the aid of the Holy Spirit, interpret it themselves. So there's no need for a following at that point. You can just come humbly to the Lord yourself with the Holy Spirit, read the word, and get an interpretation yourself.
Read the translated word, because I doubt you read ancient Hebrew and ancient Greek.
A message can be preserved. That's the heart of translation.
Actually, no, because you ever hear that all translators are traitors? That's a Roman
God preserved his word. He's powerful enough to give us his word. He can preserve his word too.
Actually, your sort of interpretation of the Bible is historically fairly new, by the way. This fundamentalism is about 150 years old now.
The same Bible that I'm reading is the same Bible they were reading back then.
No, not really. No, not really.
They keep on finding manuscript after manuscript that concords highly.
Not really, no, because it's been translated, Lemon, several times.
Just because it's been translated doesn't mean that the message can't be preserved.
The message is different, and it was never meant to be taken literally like you take it.
Languages change all the time. If what you said was accurate, we wouldn't have any literature past like the English days of the 16 and 1700s when English was codified and settled into its current form or whatever.
My problem is
some languages don't translate perfectly into English. Like there's some words in other languages that there's no words for in English.
I would even go further. I would go even further in life. I would say that all languages do not translate perfectly into other language. If you speak more than one language, you can easily remember.
But the thing is, you can still transfer the message. You can still get the message pretty accurate. I mean, in English, you say, when you're driving me crazy, you're driving me up the wall. But you can't, translate that exactly. You'd have to get the sense of the word, which is you're exasperating me, you're frustrating me, you're making me angry, you're making me uncomfortable. And you would have to let that stand for the translation unless they have a similar idiom to basically express frustration, anger, stuff like that.
Again, you're taking poetry.
I'm gonna have to be the bigger asshole if I'm gonna get in here. The KJV is one of the biggest examples of a translation that went off the rails more often than not from the original text. The KJV is not a good example.
but they had teams of people translating that thing, scholars who knew several languages. As a translation, it's one of the best that we have, and William Tyndale gave us a lot of that translation and gave his life to be burned at the stake for daring to try to put the word of God in a common tongue out of the Latin and into a common tongue for the people to read themselves. We should honor his memory and other people who died similarly by at least reading it.
Can we come back to the modern times and the 2020s now?
Yeah, I have a question about cults, Lemonbird. Would you say that feigned ignorance is an attribute of someone that's in a cult? For example, would you say that the feigned ignorance in Flat Earth, where not specifically you, but certain people act as though the information isn't out there? They're like, there's no evidence for the globe, regardless of the fact that the evidence does exist. It's this feigned ignorance or this pretend stupidity that is
some feigning, maybe. I mean, no evidence that we'd accept, just like I gave wrapped off, like Jose said, 9 things for the firmament, but Schill wasn't accepting any of it. So
because they're all false, Lemon.
Evidence that you'd accept.
Lemon, they're not evidence.
Pretending that the evidence doesn't exist is cult-like.
Lemon, everything you said is evidence for the
cult-like, though. I mean, for cult-like behavior, you'd have to have somebody controlling your thinking. As far as we can tell, most flat earthers are free to look at the evidence or not, though.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Flat earthers are all members
of the cult. When you go to the Oakley show, you get told by Nathan Oakley that there's no evidence for the globe, and everybody chants his mantras, everybody repeats everything that he says. How is that not a cult?
Well, there are different, I guess you could say, cults of personality around different people in the flat earth, but there's so many different people you could go to. You could go to Southern Israelite. You could go to Mr. Thrive and Survive. You could go to the Morgile when he's not, e-begging or something like that with some of his earlier work. People fall on hard times. I mean, you can go to different people. You could even go to Orphan Red when, she was doing her flat earth stuff like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. If it is rubbed off against that.
Great examples, Lemon. Great examples.
You happen to be one of the only flat earthers that I know that actually has original material. Majority of people just chant Oakley's mantras or Bev's mantras, or it's either an amalgamation of everybody's material combined into one. But you seem to be the only person that has unique ideas.
We're independent thinkers. We can go take a little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, the thing is, most of the stuff that I get mostly comes from Southern Israelite. His Flat Earth Encyclopedia is pivotal. It has a lot of good stuff in it. But, there's all sorts of sources you can go to. I mean, we're independent free thinkers. We could go here. We could go Oakley. We could go anywhere. I mean, the main thing is just seeing, who, if anybody, has some sort of explanation for this.
The one thing that I see now is that I'm not sure if it's all flat earthers, but the ones that we talk to, I mean, I would say over on Geo specifically, would like to talk about really complex subjects like space-time and relativity, and things that are like really, really complicated that a normal person really wouldn't know about. I mean, and I'm sure a lot of the flat earthers we talk to haven't taken a physics course. So for them to talk about such complex subjects and then tell people that they're wrong about these complex subjects, I think it's really intellectually dishonest to do things like that.
Well, there is a little bit of red pill agnosticism, I guess you can call it, a red pill agnosis, not knowing. Gnosis being an old word with a G for knowledge. It has a similar sound. It's basically a fancy word for knowledge. Lack of knowledge or non-knowing. Since we were lied about the earth, we're challenging a lot of some of this stuff to say, hey, do we have full verification for this? Or have we been sold a bill of goods that we have to have faith in? But I don't know if I'm interested in rewriting the whole book. I'm really more interested in repurposing the book toward the flat earth and saying, hey, this normie science could work towards something flat if just reimagined.
No, it couldn't, Lemon. Lemon, it really can't. Everything you said for proof of the so-called dome is just a misinterpretation of a fact. You're taking a bunch of nondescript facts and cramming them together and coming up with a theory that is false. Sorry.
Well, that's why some of the laymen like me and others are comfortable challenging the theory because of how inconsistent it sounds. Like you guys say for the Parhelions, or sundogs, that ice crystals make this thing look like it's shining off of a dome. That's stupid.
It doesn't make it look like shining off a dome. It makes it look like it's shining through ice crystals. It's the only way to explain it.
It's just
not a
dumb.
dome.
It looks like the sun shining off of the dome, and at best, the ice crystals are the screen for the main phenomena.
It only happens when it's cold.
Just dumb.
It only happens when it's really, really cold and really, really still. It doesn't happen.
To answer B-Ball's question about why that happens, it's because this is not meant to be offensive to any flat earther that's listening right now, but it's because flat Earth has no material. So the only thing that they can talk about is the globe Earth. So when they go into these different complex topics and you wonder why they're doing this when they can't even explain things like sunsets or bottom-up obstruction, it's because there is no material in flat Earth to talk about. There are no flat Earth models.
Just fine. I mean, there's Life is Short who talks about compressed visual angle making a horizon form. I mean, most of the stuff you can figure out for yourself.
And that's totally false.
I mean, keep in mind, Space Pope, that more and more visual information is crammed from the top down, but very limited amount of visual information, height-wise and distance-wise, is crammed in to the focal point, the horizon, the vanishing point from the level, from the ground up to the level of the eyes.
Lemon, when you have people, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, just one last thing. If the horizon is the vanishing point, why doesn't everything vanish at that point?
Because different objects need different vanishing points. Boom. It's more like a vanishing plane with a bunch of infinite vanishing points spread out left and right and forward from the observer. It's a vanishing plane, and different objects with different heights need different vanishing points. And a taller object that's way taller than the level of the eyes is going to go further out behind the horizon that forms in the foreground, looking for its true vanishing point, a vanishing point that you can't offer because your eye is too low to the ground.
This is the only issue that I have with all of that, Lemon, and this also contributes to the flat Earth mentality and ethos. Is
great. We had Beeble before you, man.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I know. I just wanted to say, Lemon. First, put your seatbelt on because we always hear that dinging because you don't have your seatbelt on. Second, when we're talking about things like quantum physics, I don't think anybody in this. Well, maybe there's a few. But anybody would have any room to talk about subjects like quantum physics because nobody really knows about quantum physics, especially flat earthers.
It's a healthy criticism because a lot of mysticism is pushed under the guise of quote unquote science. And this healthy skepticism can possibly help us ferret out bullshit. What were you saying, Stingray?
No, I was just going to mention that I've put out openly in Geo's channel, in here, and to other flat earthers. I've got an issue in the fact that in creating a globe model and having the curvature as they say it is, and allowing for the very, very small tolerance of refraction, then multiple things work simultaneously. That's the amount of obstruction over distance versus the height of something and the observer height, the terminator line, the position of the sun in the sky through the day and the seasons, and the orientation of the moon are all explained with this one thing, curvature, and the fact that we're on a ball. Now, when I build a flat Earth model and I tell people, hey, look, come and invalidate this globe model that I can't seem to fail, please show me where it fails because I can't make it. And please show me where the flat Earth model makes one little bit of sense. No one comes forward. And that is a genuine request, and it always has been.
It only doesn't fail because you do your measurements from a fictitious place, and that'd be the center of your Earth. Okay, so yeah, sure. If we come up with a fictitious place to do our measurements, yeah, we can. We can probably do better. But we're trying to use reality.
Brian, if it was fictitious, then it wouldn't match reality.
Just 2 seconds, Brian. All of what I just said, multiple things correspond and make predictions of reality all at the same time without fail. Now, the fact that a coordinate system is centered in the center of a fictitious Earth, on the surface of a fictitious Earth, or 20 trillion miles away in a random position makes not a blind bit of difference to the actual model itself.
Well, there's a lot of magic in your model, buddy, and nothing really empirical.
Please show me the magic, and please help me take the magic out. Do you want to do that?
No one has ever shown any inconsistencies with the globe model. Go ahead and
you have to do your measurements.
We see way too far. Like a broken clock, your model might be right twice a day or a couple times, but we see way too far on your model too, which breaks your model as well.
No, that can be explained with filming refraction.
Hold on, wait. Brian was talking. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian. Brian was talking.
Well,
you cut him off.
For starters, you try to claim 69 miles per degree, which wouldn't be the case on the surface of the said Earth. That only works from the center, and that only works assuming, making some assumptions that the star's distance is, light years away, infinite
wait a minute, Brian, sorry, I also forgot to add the other thing that also works simultaneously with everything else, and that's star trails. Thank you for reminding me. But the thing about
star trails, that's a good point. That disproves the globe right on
Brian,
its
just
face.
very quickly, just focus on one thing that you think is, because all of them, it's not right twice a day. It's right at any moment for any day in the year. So if you can show me, wait a minute, Brian, let me just finish, because if you can pick one aspect where it isn't, without a story, just say, if you do this and this, it won't match reality, I'll try it. I really will.
Okay. How about this? When you got the moon over the equator and you see the star trails and the moon's right overhead, going straight overhead, you see the other stars curving off to the left, not going with the trail. So so if we're spinning and the star trails start spinning, causing what we're seeing, how come the moon ain't tracking with the stars that are veering off to the left in the south?
What?
So you could take a regular camera, okay? Because I heard the argument talking about the fisheye lens.
I get the point, Brian. I get the point.
Lenses.
I get the point.
Even in Stellarium, you see off at the horizon, you see the stars moving apart. What's that tell you? Okay,
right, so there's two things
in one direction.
Wait a minute. Let's stick on one thing if we can. You said two things, so I'll just the stars.
That's one thing. That's one thing that Star Trek.
All right, so forget the stars moving apart because that's normally just lens distortion. So
it's even in Stellarium. Go in Stellarium.
Wait a minute. Sorry, it's field of view distortion. Just call it that. That's what it is. It's when you have a wide angle of view, the degrees towards the extent moves a hell of a lot quicker. But forget that. Just move that to one side. But your first point was about the orbit of the moon around the Earth, which is rotating not in lockstep but independently to the orbit of the moon. So the star trails are caused by our rotation. The moon is completely separate and says, I don't give a shit about your rotation. I care about my orbit. So that's why they are detached. And it's completely predictable for a globe, never fails.
Oh my God, is that what he's actually talking about?
Sometimes it works. Sometimes
is he wondering why the moon and the stars are in lockstep?
Yeah, sometimes they do.
Oh, fuck.
Dude, I never even got to finish my point completely, but man, let me at least respond to Stingray before he cuts me off after 5 words. But usually the moon will match, but when it gets down there by the equator, it deviates. And my whole point is even on Stellarium, off at the far horizon, you can see it. Even Stellarium shows it at each extreme horizon. The stars, it's not much, but they are separating from each other. And in reality, the star trails at the equator, looking east or west, show convergence and separation. It's not much, but there couldn't be any on a globe. That's not possible. That shows that there's more than one star trail.
Do you want me to show you that, Brian? It's completely predictable. I'll show you it right now.
But star trails don't work at all on the flat Earth.
No, you can't. How can it?
Neither does the orientation of the moon.
You can't have multiple star trails on a globe, but that's what you got in reality.
You can, actually. You're gonna see the problem is that you can't have two axes of rotation on the flat Earth, but we notice that in reality.
There's got to be at least two, really three, if you want to look at it.
Three,
you know, with a truthful eye. Yeah, because you have the star going straight over the equator, looking dead east or dead west, and then you have stars veering to the left at the horizon and veering to
That's
the
all
right.
the
And
same.
they don't do it right overhead now, but at the
That's
horizon,
all explained by rotating.
it does it in reality and on stellarium.
That's all rotated. Also, it's very easily explained. If you have a three-dimensional globe, you can easily see that. It's very easily.
So I can measure stars separating,
No,
and
you
that
can't.
works on your model. No, I don't think so.
No, you can. All three of those observations are easily explained on a rotating sphere.
Okay, what's causing the stars at the horizon to separate away from each other?
That's a little bit. Oh God, we're gonna get into that. I'm not gonna say the word because you'll go crazy on it. You know what it is.
I hope you say perspective. I hope you
No,
do.
it's not perspective actually, but we're not.
I know. It's called separation. We can measure it.
No, I'm not gonna say the word because you'll go crazy because you don't understand it.
All right, we got Stingray up on screen. Stingray with one of the models right here. Boom.
Right. So, Brian, this by the way, on a flat Earth, there's no way to make it get anywhere near reality. But this doesn't fail in matching reality. Now, I've got an observer at the moment at the equator. Now, if you want me to look south and then north, you can see in these two viewports what would see if the Earth wasn't there. But in one, there's a line where the horizon would be. Now, what exactly do you mean now? Oh, shit. Can you see my screen, by the way, Brian? That might be a start.
YouTube can see it. I can see it. I don't know if Brian have to click on your stream to,
Yeah, I think.
to watch.
Oh, no. Brian's got a phone call or something.
Probably a phone call, yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe Brian's making such a stupid argument. The moon and the stars are in different orbital paths. How does he not understand that?
That's easy. It's Brian.
Yeah, it's Brian.
I think what he's talking about, Stingray, is looking like due west. And, he's seen these photographs with enormous fisheye lenses. And the star trails won't appear to be parallel. Same thing happens with stellarium, just like you said. But again, it is mimicking a big-ass fisheye lens.
Is he talking about stuff on the horizon again?
Yeah.
So you're just on about an extreme wide-angle field, a wide field of view, Blue. Is that what it's on about?
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, if all of these people
like that. That's what he maintains right there, what you showed. That the stars are moving apart. The trails are not parallel, when in fact they are.
And if we're supposed to believe this, if we're supposed to believe that Brian is poking holes in the current model of Earth, why doesn't he have a Nobel Prize? Why is he here on Discord talking to us guys? You know what I mean? Like, how could this possibly be real and be taken seriously by anybody?
I'm guessing that's what he means, basically.
Yeah, that is. I think so.
Yeah. So that you would get from extreme kind of GoPro time lapse or something, just because it's a bloody 12-degree or 7-degree. Say 7mm focal length. So it's like like an 80. No, it's more.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a huge field of view.
Yeah. Huge. You're literally seeing both rotation poles.
Yeah, so it's like, well, I've got it here at the moment. This is 147-degree field of view.
Yeah. And the wider it gets, the more that is going to happen to you.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it appears they're diverging, but they're not. Of course, they're not.
Here's the thing that no flat earther understands is the field of view and zoom is the equivalent to also cropping, because all you have to do is actually crop into this area and you're actually changing the field of view to the extent of the image.
Yep.
Was he asking why the stars above the equator don't appear to be just like following a straight line? They look like they're diverging away from each other.
Well, that's what Blue seems to think. I think so. We'll know when he comes back, I guess. But like I said to him, and like I say to all flat earthers, please come forward and show me where this doesn't work. Just one aspect, because it doesn't work infrequently. It never fails permanently. There is nothing that it fails upon. It predicts, the exact path of the sun, the orientation of the moon, something you cannot get on a flat Earth, based on where you are, geographical location. And these can all be independently verified. You can go outside. You can track it through the sky. You can do loads of things. It predicts the Terminator line. You can ring your friends in a different country that's almost on the same latitude and figure out, oh my God, this actually works. But what shape would this make on flat Earth? Oh my God, why is it waving like that? It's so simple to do.
Yep.
Right. So the photographs I've seen of the two poles where it looks like there's two discs in the sky, does that have to do with how those photos were edited? Is that why they look the way they do?
No. You mean the rotations?
Yeah, because I've seen photos showing the two different star rotations, and it looks like there's two discs.
Yeah, so this basically.
Each other, yeah.
I'll do this for you. Wait there.
And I guess what Brian is trying to say is that that's not analogous to what you would see at the equator, because what you would see is just a straight line of stars above you.
Can I take 30 seconds to shout out Ranty, aka Auditing the Absurd. He got jumpy there for a second.
Yeah, Randy's got like 30 million views now.
He got jumpy for a second. I asked him like, "What's going on, man? Did we lose you, or you just doing this?" He said, "No, I announced a few months ago that he was going to follow the trial." I said, "All right. So what after that? You're going to follow another trend?" And he asking me like, "Why the hate, man? What the hell?" I said, "Dude, I'm not hating. I'm asking you an honest question." He said, I'm bit trend following, simply trying to right wrongs when I see them. I mean, nobody's gonna right or wrong off of fucking famous people, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you feel like, do you, man, enjoy what you're doing. But there's no hate whatsoever. I was just asking another question. You just got really jumpy and asked me if I was hating because I asked you. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah, Randy's a superstar now. He got 30 million views in the last 3 weeks. Deleted all his flat Earth videos. He's not one of us anymore.
I'm really upset. Blender cameras only go to 173 degrees for some reason.
All I will say is congratulations, Randy. I think you've done a hell of a job.
Me too.
Yeah, you do you, man. You keep doing you. That's
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wish I'd have been smart enough to do that.
I could give
Good job.
I could give two shits about this trial.
Yeah, me too. I actually watch clips. If there's a minute clip, a 30 seconds clip on YouTube, oh, look at this, some smirk or some funny comments, I click on them and I watch them. That's all I have. I know about this trial, that I can recommend the little minute clips and 30 seconds. Those are funny. That's it. That's all I know about it.
Even Nathan, even Opie tried to get in on the action. He put like, he put tags on his videos to try and get clickbait views. Everybody's trying to get in on the action.
Me, I hadn't done it.
Not you, though.
Nope, not me.
Sorry about that, y'all. I'm back. Sorry, Stingray. I know you were trying to present something, man, but something really important come up.
That's all right. Real life comes before this bullshit. But anyway, on screen, I've got what you're on about, and these are star trails. I think Blue was explaining what he thought you meant, and you meant this divergence here in this bottom left camera view. Oh, this is what we think you mean.
No, the divergence at the equator.
Yeah, so this bottom left camera is at the equator looking west. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little extreme to reality. That. But
yeah, no, I've got.
Yeah, I get the gist.
Yeah. I've got a wide camera view. I mean, if you tell me what camera to emulate, I'll put it in here. But I mean, this is what we expect on a globe, and only works on a globe. And those stars are fixed. It's
stellarium
here doing it.
Use stellarium, and you don't even have to measure them. You can measure, and it's not much, and it's only at the horizon. But you can measure them. You don't even have to physically measure them. You can see them, like the ones that are on the edge of the screen, on the right and left side of the screen. They literally leave the screen at the horizon. It's the same thing we see with cameras. But besides that, well, I'll let you respond to that first.
Yeah, so that's exactly what is predicted here on a globe model with star trails, with an Earth rotating, and just a standard camera. This is
how are they moving away from each other, though? Is my question. How are they moving away from how are the stars moving away from each other?
They are not moving away from each other. We don't. The stars don't move away from each other relative to us. They might do, but it'd be from our perspective, it would be so infinitesimally small we would not notice stars moving away from each other. This is just rotation and nature of perspective and the lens, and that's it. That's it. Field of view does this. This is a camera right now.
It's a subjective argument. You can show two eddy currents moving away from each other on a flat surface of water.
No, not in this particular case. Right, we've actually had discussions on other servers about this at length, where if you actually took a camera and aimed it at two stars that have a certain angular separation and had that on a mount that followed those two stars up the sky, the angular separation between those two stars would not change.
What happens in the sky and how you interpret it is subjective.
No, you can measure the angular separation between two stars. That's not subjective.
You interpret what you see as to being, it's a globe. Cat's just walked on my keyboard. Are you still?
Right, I'm gonna reiterate this just one last time. The angular separation between two stars is measurable. It is not subjective.
Stars in the sky, it's not on the Earth. It's subjective. You interpret what you see above. The Earth presents itself as flat.
How do you get to?
Just 2 seconds. So the important thing there is, I actually agree with the Earth presents itself as being flat. But what we can do is we can test observations and multiple variables to see if it is flat. I've done that.
It becomes subjective, and then it becomes subjective.
Well, wait a minute. At this point, everything, because it's based on inference and logic inference, is subjective. But what we find is statistically, when we compound predictions from different variables, so let's say star trails, let's say the path of the sun. Let's say, wait a minute, please let me finish.
Let him comment. Let him comment, Sting. Right, his microphone is a little lower, and he doesn't go too long. So let him get in there, man.
What happens in the sky has nothing to do with what's here on other than you interpret what you see, and it becomes subjective, not objective.
So
you can measure what's going on in the sky. That, by definition, makes it not subjective.
Wait a minute. Let me just finish what I was saying. I'll do it really quickly. So yes, making like logical inferences like this, but like Doofy said, you can make measurements, but that's measurements of the sky. And if you don't believe in the sky, well, that's your fault. But the issue, the entire statement is just. I'm
going to pull you on that. No, you became ad hominem there. Stay logical. Don't do personal.
So if we make predictions I build a model and I make predictions. So I've got the path of the sun through the sky, the orientation of the moon from any observer point at any position on the earth, at any moment in time on any day of the year, same for the sun, the terminator line, the star trails, and how much things are hidden from the bottom up. And all I need to do is rotate a sphere for all of that. I'm not saying that is true. I'm saying it's damn useful and never fails. That's all I can say.
Okay, I see an inconsistency there with you. Somebody put an argument to you with 2 points, and you pulled him up on that, saying you'll handle one, and you just threw about half a dozen there at me. That's called Gish Gallop. What we see in the sky
I'm saying is statistically,
subjective. It's an interpretation of what we see, but we all live subjectively on this Earth. And
so
the Earth presents itself as flat and motionless.
So the reason, let me just say this. So the reason I presented loads of things is the input and control mechanism for all of those. Because I don't say. Please let me finish. I say I'm going to rotate a ball, and all of those things work. I don't care that there's many of them. They all work simultaneously and together and are predictable and do not fail. I do not care that there is 5, 20, or 10,000. It is supporting and statistical evidence that the Earth is in fact a planet. When I do the same for a flat surface, none of it works. It is
Mark,
that simple.
Mark, are you running your microphone with a backup petrol generator or something? It sounds like a little off.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. No,
yeah.
What's happening?
Could I make one?
It sounds like a motor. It sounds like a motor running in the background.
It is a little bit low, yeah, and like a buzz sound.
It sounds like you have your phone up to like a fish filter, like a bubbler in a fish tank, like the little thing that makes the bubbles, like a vibrating, like.
Can I make a quick comment?
Behind his computer.
Hold on. Let Mark make his answer or rebut to Stingray first, and then you guys.
No. Let me sort out my volume. Hang on, gentlemen.
Yeah, I keep hearing
a little bit better.
I keep hearing people making this claim that Earth appears flat. I have to disagree with that, because everywhere we look, we see bottom-up obstruction. Earth does not appear flat.
Obstruction's not curvature, man. Not necessarily, anyway.
In the way.
I concede
it's evidence of a curved surface.
It is when you have the horizon obstructing the sun.
Well, I'm just saying, man. But one more thing about the star trails, like if I'm on a ball and I'm moving, just say I'm going backwards. I'm not even gonna like say it like I'm backwards at speed of sound. Look, I'm just moving backwards in one direction. Okay, the stars are not gonna separate away from the equator, and I don't care what y'all say. In reality, any star trails that you do, legitimate star trails. I'm not talking about fisheye lens where it shows the crazy distortion. I'm talking about you see the separation. And if I'm only moving in one direction, the stars can't separate from each other. That's not possible. But now, if you take iron filings in a magnetic field, or if you take some little iron shavings or aluminum, like any kind of metal shavings, even pepper, I heard, and put it in water and put a north and a south pole. Electrically charged, like from put some current to them, they pretty much make a similar pattern around just like we see over the equator. They converge at the middle. One goes one direction and the other spins the other. It looks just like the star trails. So that would be my argument.
Brian, we got to shout out Truth Nerds with the best comment so far. For once, Brian Leakey doesn't have the worst microphone. Boom.
But that is a good point that Brian is making, though. Like, if we're observing the stars from the equator, we would only see them moving in one direction. If it's us that's rotating and not the stars that are rotating. But then in the photographs that we see of star trails taken from the equator, they appear to be moving in different directions. Or they appear as two discs in the sky.
It looks like that. It looks like that because we're on a ball that's rotating. That's why it looks like that.
Yeah, well, I recommend you catch a moon trail. Wait till the moon is over the equator, and that's when it's really, really noticeable. Because the moon usually matches the star trails. It just deviates a tiny little bit, you know, because they say because of the moon and its own rotation around the Earth. But if you wait till the moon gets over the equator and do a time lapse of like at least like an 8 or 10 hour time lapse, then with the moon at the equator, or just barely on one side of the equator, then you can really see it deviating from the stars, man. And
wait, hold on, people. I want to ask people something. If we're on Earth, right, the stars are fixed and we're rotating. Why would it appear like the stars are moving away from each other at the equator?
It's because as you look towards the south, that starts to turn around into a circle. They're just looking at a.
No, you can't move your camera.
But you can only
move your camera during star trails.
You can only either look at the south or the north. You can't look at both of them at the same time.
So I just posted a video from a little clip I made from Stellarium. Brian, if you can take a look at that, and I just was sliding the time slider back and forth to show the star trail, or so the rotation of the stars. Now those stars are fixed. And they don't look like they're deviating
Can
at
you
all.
share your screen? Can you share your screen?
No, I posted it. No, I posted it in Daily Boom. It's a short little video.
Yeah, all right, I'll check it out.
I don't think that's enough deviation from Brian's elbow to it.
Hey, Dad, I gotta meet my probation officer before 4:45.
Hit the like, please, and thank you. Thank you, Zima. Everybody, please hit the thumbs up. We got 50 watching, only 31 likes. One of the lowest ratios likes versus people viewing. So I don't know if people is just hit the dislike or not enjoying the content or forgot to do it. But if you are watching this live or recorded, don't forget to leave a like, man. Or ma'am. Thank you. And if anybody has hit me up on PayPal, tag me because I haven't checked. I'm going to check now. I doubt I got something, but if anybody has, please holler at me so I can check it out.
Yeah, I just watched B-Ball's video. That's not. I'm going to try and look for the photos and specifically what I'm talking about. But I've seen photos of the two different rotations put next to each other. And I imagine that what they did is it's an edited photo.
Yeah, I think what you're looking at is a wide angle lens.
Yes, they can do that with a camera that has a wider than 180 degree field of view.
So normally it wouldn't look like that, but if you're using a wide angle camera, that's when you get images. Okay, I got you.
Yes.
Right,
and I think that's what
you would
Show me one
see.
that doesn't. Okay, I need to post a video I made of Stellarium where you put it on auto rotate. And you'll see them deviating. It's not much, but it's measurable.
Right. And as I mentioned before, and as I mentioned over in other servers with you as well, you can measure the angular separation by looking right at those two stars and find that as you track them across the sky, the angular separation does not change. However, if you leave your camera in a fixed mount, pointed in a fixed direction, it will appear through rectilinear projection that they separate as they pass your field of view. This is not new. This is what projection. This is not new because this is what this kind of projection does. You can do this with your door frame, which was explained to you also in that same server.
No. Why would Stellarium project that? So you're saying that Stellarium has rectilinear lenses? But here's my point. My point is, I'm not talking about wide angle lenses. I'm talking about a view at the equator looking dead east. Okay, the only stars moving straight are the ones in the very, very center. Okay, the ones barely off center are already starting to deviate. It doesn't happen until the horizon.
Right.
You even parallax, dude.
Let me say something really quick. Please, really quick. Brian, this is what you need to do. Stop looking at Stellarium. They're just going to confuse you. Get yourself a camera that can do time lapse. Go outside and film looking south, film looking southwest, then film looking west, and do it all the way until north. Do film those things and then tell me, come back and tell me that you see this deviation you keep talking about.
Hold that up, Brian. We got a big super chat by Zima with a $10. Thank you, Zima. I appreciate that. Just to support with a smiley face with smiling eyes. Thank you very much, Zima. I appreciate that. I hope you're having fun listening to the show today, hanging out in the chat. Thank you. I stopped screenshotting you, Stingray. I got a video by Paul. Paul is in the chat. He shared this. And this is stars. I think it's related to what you guys are talking about, little computer model. If you guys want to click on and see what I'm sharing, it's on a loop. It's only 38 seconds long. And there's a bunch of images in here. That's why I want to share a few of the images that are here related to those stars. I'll try to play the video that people shared. I'll try to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as simple as going out and actually filming it. And I filmed it myself from my backyard, looking in 3 different directions.
Yeah, you got it. I'm talking about equatorial star trails. Or stellarium. Which I'm about to post a video of the program showing measures.
Yeah, stellarium. I mean, even if you when you slide the screen up and down, I mean, it goes concave. So, I mean, obviously it's a wide angle lens.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about standing on the horizon, just looking straight east with the ground flat. So that takes away your wide angle projection, because if you go up, it angles one way. If you point down, it angles the other. I'm talking about with the perfectly flat horizon and looking due west, actually west. And yeah, it's measurable. So you can't blame it on the lenses and all that.
So the stars. So on the equator, the stars go straight down, right?
The stars should only ever move in one direction at the equator. If you're looking due east, they shouldn't deviate from each other, but they do.
They go straight down, right? Okay, where are they going? Where are they going after they go straight down?
We can get into that.
That's what I described. If you take an anode and a cathode and give it a little current and water, sprinkle some pepper or some little filings that float, you'll see it makes two star trails, and you'll see the ones in the middle, pretty much look straight there for a minute, and then they deviate apart, just like we see in reality.
We can get into where they go after they cross the horizon later, which is a fun topic, sure. But Brian, you did say that in our model, they shouldn't appear to deviate from a fixed camera, and I just got through explaining why they should in our model.
That's why I used an example that doesn't have a camera. Okay, I just used a flat horizon where you could deviate the screen. You could make it fisheye. You could make it convex, concave, but you could also make it flat. Okay, and if you make it flat, okay, you can't blame that on the lens. That's why I brought that example up. And that's what I'm about to post a video of.
Daily Boom real quick. If you look in the Daily Boom real quick, this is a camera that's looking at the same subject in 2 different directions. The only reason why it would look like it's the same angular separation here is because it's in a plane parallel with the image plane. When I change that, the separation differs from the bottom to the top. This is the same kind of a thing that's occurring to the star trails on a fixed camera. The stars that have the same angular separation all the way around appear to have a different angular separation in the projection on the lens and on the camera, on the image sensor. This is something that's expected of the globe.
Where's Mark? Mark, you left. Thank you for coming in earlier, man. Thank you. Hopefully you're still listening. Big shout out to you, man. Thank you for supporting and for coming in and talking to us. It has been many, many months that I haven't talking with. I'm about to wrap it up too. It's been a little bit. I don't know if almost 3 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. It's good. There's 56 people watching. There's a lot of people watching, but I need to get out of here, feed the dogs, eat, And that's about it. There's a few images being posted. This with the star trails. This one is stars. And Doofus Manfred posted one of the coolest pictures with obstruction bottom up. You want to touch onto this before we get out of here, Brian Leakey? Revisit this picture that I got up. I can repost it, so if you cannot see my screen share, you can see it in the daily the boat with the one. Tell me about it, man, because this is obvious bottom up obstruction on this one. Gigantic.
Yeah, that's your hump. That's your hump. Do a blink test, and there's your hump.
Tell us on a flat if water does not conform to the surface of a sphere, therefore is curving away from you always, like curving away. How does this work if it was a flat plane? Because roughly, if we add a little bit, this will be the bottom of the boat right here, and if we throw a line of water in here, this boat will be continually, like, it's more than half underwater. What's going on?
Yep, I've seen it like that plenty of times. But I know that there's no actual hump of water out there. In my mind,
anyway. A Sagittarius is not a hump, Brian. If it was a hump, they would call it that.
I went out there. I'd like to see some of these, and this is me being fair. I'd like to see more of these pictures. Like, man, I'm about to get some time off here in this summer, and I'm gonna go out there and instead of just looking through my auto level, I'm gonna film, and I'm gonna try and get a theodolite too. But even at auto level, I'd like to see some of these. I'm gonna try and put together a compilation at different times and stuff, and different observations, and see, because I've been out there with my auto level with the water higher than the damn than level. It's crazy, but you would agree that that optics and refraction, or whatever you want to call it, can cause bottom up obstruction. Would you agree with that at least?
I would say
possible, but only under specific conditions.
Right. I would say that would require, in the vastly common case, especially true at 20 feet above ground level or higher, that the atmosphere would have to be upside down.
Well, we show it. All you got to do is make a gradient. All you got to do is let some cold air in or heat the floor up, and things will disappear over 100 feet on a concrete surface. I believe we demonstrated that. At least a fair argument.
That's why I mentioned specifically in stable conditions at 20 feet above ground level or higher that the atmosphere would have to be upside down. You would have to have it such that the highest density of the atmosphere is above, not below.
If you get 20 foot up, you're looking through more thick. I mean, right initially, you're looking through less, but at the distance, you're winding up looking through more thick atmosphere at 20 foot up.
Brian, quickly, if you get a little time off and you get to get yourself a camera, it doesn't have to be a P900 or whatever.
I got a P1000, Jose.
That's beautiful. So if you get to do those observations, I hope, because it's a tricky one for this season in Florida, I hope that you go a few days and there's not too much mirages and infinite mirages and distortion and stuff. You will notice once you do a few observations, once you look through the camera, you say like, damn it, it's a lot of mirage in here, which is cool to take.
Usually a mirage, and you're right. Usually,
but hopefully you'll get a little break, and at least 1 or 2 times you get some more clear footage, and what I call clear is with less amount of mirage visible, and you will realize when you're looking at it now. Second advice: when you go to do these observations, just leave out any bias and try to capture images. Don't try to in real time interpret what you're seeing. Just record, and then when you upload it and watch it in your computer, if you want to interpret it or whatever, try not to block the images with big bold letters, big bold, like titles and stuff. Try to leave it.
The way I do my letters.
Yeah, the way you do. Yeah. Try to leave the images and the footages like at least clean. The whatever we say. You can talk over it and whatever, but sometimes what I did, I actually loved to watch videos and footages from the two sides without audio, just looking at the imagery and trying to absorb myself, because when there's big letters, it takes your attention away, and then that will plant a bias, that will plant a seed in your brain. I don't know, it's an advice. Try not to do that with some. You can do two also. You can upload originals and then do one edited with letters and explanations and arrows and stuff like that. It's just an advice. You don't have to do it, but it'd be cool, if more people did that, like do the unbiased thing as just upload the originals or upload it where you're just talking without big letters blocking the imagery.
Could I ask Brian a quick question?
Yeah, I got
know
a
you're
bunch of
about to wrap
footage, man.
up,
I just
Jose,
never,
but I
I've never.
wanted to ask this quick question.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I've never transferred any of my shit from my camera to a video. I got the computer to do it now, but I don't have. I still have some of it left, man. But I'll tell you what, though, the first time I ever went out there, I observed a day like that, and I almost had my mind made up on day one, man. And then the next day, the barge was it was fully visible. But looking at that's gonna make people think it's a globe. But there are some observations, man, that where there could be miraging, and without any other background, you might not even know it. Like I think even you have some examples of that. But that would make, to be fair, that looks like it's potential curvature, man. But I don't think that's 100% set in stone yet. But I will do what you recommend and try and post some of this shit.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, love that, man.
Okay, could you do this test as well, Brian? So picture this. Or you don't even have to picture it. You can go and do this on your own, and you'd see that it's analogous to what I'm saying. So take a round object, a sphere, and put a thumbtack at the top of that sphere. Make sure that it's something that isn't inflated, something that you can actually put a thumbtack into.
I'm doing it right now.
Right. Now start rotating that sphere away from you. What's going to happen is that you're going to notice that it's going to get to a point where you're only going to see like the very top of that thumbtack, and the bottom of it is going to be obstructed by the surface of the sphere. And isn't that what we see in reality? We see objects being obstructed by the horizon, not by
and you won't be able
I'll be honest with you. Usually what we see when we go out, I think Jose will agree with me, 99%, not 99, but about 90% of the time, there's an inferior mirage on the horizon. Very rarely do we catch black swan days.
Yeah, I agree with you over here in Florida, at least, there's some places, it depends on the weather, you get mostly mirages, and then you got a little break, and sometimes you get like really cool, really clean images,
So to be honest, what people think they're seeing is not really what's out there, man. It's usually a fucking mirage, but yeah, you catch days like that, but usually inferior mirage. That's what a horizon usually consists of.
Well, the point that I was trying to make with my demonstration is that what we see in reality is analogous to what you would expect to see on a spherical surface. It's
that's fair.
Connection with that.
And two points. Now, when you do this in a small scale, remember, you got a thumbtack or whatever object, you're rotating the sphere slightly away. So you will see, the disappearing from the bottom up, but you will notice a little bit of a tilt away from you, depends on how big the object is. If you want to transfer that to a normal scale, that will be hundreds of miles big structure, building. We know we don't have that, but we don't have a bigger scale to put a tiny object, which if we rotate that, it will just be visible disappearing from the bottom up. You will never see the tilt. You can do that on your own. It's just scale matters. So we can do this test to prove the point, but it's not 100% analogous to reality because we don't have a 700-foot long, structure to look at.
Analogous in the sense of that's what you'd expect to see on a sphere, but of course it's not to scale.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do some extensive this summer. I'm gonna try and do some extensive measurements. I'm gonna try and get out there and put some markers and stuff, and try and go to the same spot. Make sure my camera height is at the same exact height, and I'm gonna set up the auto level and try and see how consistent the horizon is. I'm gonna try and record as much information as I can and present all this information, and then we'll come up with a conclusion on our own based on like a couple months.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
The same spot.
That's it, man. Let's do a round of final thoughts. I really gotta get out of here. It was fun. It was a fun, entertaining show, very diverse. Again, big shout out to Lemonberg was here earlier. Also, Mark Doxy was here earlier. A bunch of more people that was here and had to leave. And thank you all guys for still. Everybody, If you want to join Discord, usually the conversation keeps going a little bit longer. So if anybody want to come in, please join. Hang in there. Let's round up for YouTube with final thoughts from. We'll begin with Blue Marble.
Hey, thanks for the show today, Jose. Enjoyed it, man. See you later.
Thank you very much. It was fun. Brian Leake, final thoughts.
Yeah, man, I joined a little late, but shout out to Mark and Lemon and the whole panel today. And yeah, I really do want to do this, man. And we could go over it, and I'll know for sure what it's come for. To be honest, with the star trails, I haven't done them, but I would encourage people to try and find the moon somewhere near the equator during a time lapse, and it looked kind of, maybe next show we could talk about that, about how it doesn't follow the same as the stars, and see if y'all could find it to get it, at least see what I'm talking about, and we could talk about it maybe next show.
Good times, man. Stuff. Chaik, final thoughts. Discord user, are you here? Doofus Manfred.
Just don't want to hear. I don't want to hear again that the star trails diverging along the celestial equator is not expected on a globe anymore. Really done with that, because obviously, as I've already explained, that is expected to happen on a globe. And beyond that, if we can all just take a look into some basic optics, if you're in a stable gradient such that the highest density is below, which is something that you can get when you're 20 feet above ground level or higher, the light bending through the atmosphere bends downward, causes distant objects to appear higher. That's not something that's compatible with our observations and a flat Earth simultaneously. So it can't possibly be that the Earth is flat.
Thank you very much. Gary, you were hot miking, man. I unmuted you a few minutes ago, but you were burping and shit.
Yeah, and I just muted him again because I really don't want to listen to that.
We'll sort it out. Yeah, final thoughts, you, Farmer's Boy, yeah.
Yeah, that was, some of that was painful, but thank you anyway.
I appreciate it, man. Gary, if you are there, I'm going to answer. You're unmuted, but mute yourself after final thoughts.
You there?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I was server muted for a minute.
Well,
sorry about that. I didn't know I was unmuted. I was eating.
Yes, you were burping and Christ knows what else, yeah.
Might have been burping. I was drinking a soda, so it does happen. I'm sure none of you have burped ever in your life, though, so that's okay. But anyhow, star trails are pseudo-perspective. You cannot get a perfectly circular Ferris wheel-looking star trail. You don't see that in reality. It's a function of a picture being two-dimensional that can't show 3 dimensions in depth and distance. The star, you got a wide-angle lens that pulls all the stars in this wide field of view and puts them in a vertical circle. That's not even really possible, even under the Polaris, if you were on the North Pole, because the stars always in the distance are always lower on the horizon and every which direction around you. So you can't even do it then in reality. It's a pseudo-perspective picture.
All right. Earlier, I forgot to mention Lubo in China. He got some cool information that on May 9th, the 30 to the 31st, it will be a meteor shower that will be radiating from the star Arcturus. So Arcturus will be radiating. We will see a meteor shower May 30th and 31st at night. Thank you very much, Lubo in China.
Arcturus?
Yeah, Arcturus, yeah. That's cool, man. We got to look into that, Lemon will say. J-Mac, final thoughts.
Thank you for the show, Jose. Everything I've heard today confirms that the world is a sphere. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Snesley Wipes, final thoughts. I guess not. Space Pope, final thought.
Yeah, I really enjoyed today's show. And yeah, I just want to leave with one last point. The type of flat earthers that I like are the ones that are genuine, the ones that are really interested in proving flat Earth and are going out and making measurements to prove flat Earth. The flat earthers that I don't like are the ones that just sit in Discord and demand that people bring things to them. Bring us evidence of this or that, and they're just going to reject it anyway. Like, that's just lazy. Anybody can do that. That requires no intelligence, and you shouldn't be respected for doing that. If you really are genuine and you really care about proving the flat Earth, you would be outside making measurements and trying to figure things out. You wouldn't just be sitting on Discord being an asshole. Anyway, I'm going to leave you that, marinate on that, and everybody have a good weekend. Catch you later.
Catch you later, man. Thank you for coming. Always cool to hear your point of view on this. Appreciate it. The Stingray, final thought.
Yeah, just to echo what I said earlier, I mean, even on the models that I've built, if you take away absolutely everything and just go on the sun position through the sky and the orientation of the moon based on your location, it is really coincidental that that only works on a sphere. And if you don't believe that, then please sit with me live on a show and we'll try and figure it out on a flat Earth, because I just can't. Cheers, Jose.
Sorry, I was muted. I got a weapon here. If anybody want to mess with me, I got a weapon. I got a bat with barbed wire. Anybody that want to give a last final thoughts that either just joined or forgot a point? Thank you very much. If you guys like my barbed wire bat, I'm gonna smack myself in the head with it. See if it bleeds. Here we go. That was hard. It's not bleeding. Oh, wait.
Has it got a name?
Oh, wait. It's a rubber. It's a rubber bat. Damn it.
Come on, Jose. You have given it the right name, haven't you?
In Spanish, yeah. But the name is in Spanish. It's el amansaguapo. I don't know how to. Guapo means the brave one. But the amansa, the first word is when you tame, the brave tamer. Kind of a description.
No, it's called Lucille.
No, it's the brave tamer. But I got a real one. This is the real amansaguapo right here. I got it right here. This is the real one right here. This is it's a legit one. Big shout out to everybody. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Hey, shut up. I'm trying to do a show over here. Come on. Yeah, they think the show is over because that's the door, the alarm. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Am I bleeding? Jose, JG out. Boom. Headphones warning.